I just don't know who I am without you.
You're Ken.
But it's Barbie and Ken. There is no just Ken. Doesn't seem to matter what I do. I'm always number two. No one knows how hard I tried. Oh, I have feelings that I can't explain. They're driving me insane. All my life been so polite. 'Cause I'm just Ken. Anywhere else I'd be a 10. Is it my destiny to live and die a life of blonde fragility? I'm just Ken. Where I see love, she sees a friend. What will it take for her to see the man behind the tent and fight for me? I'm just Ken, and I'm enough, and I'm great at doing stuff. So hey, check me out, yeah, I'm just Ken, baby. I'm just Ken. I'll see you on the Malibu beach.
Hello, everyone. I am Ken, and so are we all today, aren't we? We are Ken, the hero of the Barbie movie, the unironic hero of the Barbie movie.
So, Archer, you're gonna get copyright struck now?
Claimed? Sure. Struck? Nah.
You can
So-
remove it though. So.
See, now like that, these podcasts never get monetized anyway because you two little shits keep opening your mouths.
Oh, sorry. Sorry about that.
So I figured we might as well lean into the meme here because, unironically, Ken's role in the Barbie movie was very, very, very interesting to me on so many levels.
Hold on a second, Arch. You didn't change your chat from the last stream and your overlay in your OBS.
Yep, I know. I was too busy gawking at Ken's pecs, such is life.
So I assume both of you saw Barbie then, right?
I did.
I
don't
know
if,
enough
Lisa
of
did.
it to have a conversation and to trick people that I seen it.
Ah, well, that's good enough, isn't it?
Well, I saw it with Naomi, and I had a great time. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed seeing it.
Did they actually try to brainwash Barbies into realizing they're oppressed?
They
Yes.
pretty much did, yes.
So let me get this straight, right? Tell me if this is the story. You get a world where all the Barbies are doing everything. Like they're the doctors, the lawyers, the politicians. And meanwhile, the Kens are shirtless and on the beach. And they try to get the Barbies to acknowledge them, but the Barbies aren't interested in that because they want to have female friends. And one Barbie goes to the real world because of cellulitis, and Ken actually travels with her and learns about the patriarchy, comes back, institutes the patriarchy, and 90% of the Barbies love it. But the main character Barbie hates it because her Ken left her, so she's miserable, so she wants other Barbies to be miserable. So she actually brainwashes the other Barbies into realizing that they're oppressed and fortifies the elections. And only after that, the whole system gets destroyed. And after destroying the system, she goes into the real patriarchy, which is the real world.
Sorta, kinda, except Barbie didn't even have that much of a reason. Like, she didn't even, have a reason like she missed Ken or anything like that. She just wanted to destroy Kenism because it wasn't feminism. That was her only reason and rationale for destroying it.
I wouldn't say that was her only reason.
What was the other reason?
I mean, well, the fact that she got kicked out of her own
What was
house.
the other reason?
I mean, that was a big part of it, I think.
Well, the fact that you got
And
kicked out of her own
you know what it was?
house,
So
that was a big part of it, I think.
V, that's like a 90% accurate synopsis of the film, right? So the few little bits that were missed were that apparently there's like every Barbie in Barbie Land has a corresponding Barbie doll in the real world, and so every time a real world Barbie doll is mistreated, it affects the Barbie in Barbie Land, right?
Well, Sort
for
of,
example,
kinda,
they
but
have
not really.
well, they have like Crazy Barbie, right? And Crazy, you know how you always see those kids who like cut the hairs of their dolls and like pulled their arms off and drew all over their faces. You know, that was Crazy Barbie, and she looked all fucked up. It was actually kind of a fun movie in that regard because it was,
Fire is the
you know,
answer.
despite being an officially branded Mattel product, they didn't mind poking fun at some of the nonsense that surrounds Barbie. So I like that. I like that. But
Some of the fun.
yeah,
Mattel
but
really
basically-
didn't like the movie, incidentally.
Really? I didn't hear
yeah.
that.
Oh no, there was even a interview where they talked about Mattel executives flying out to see the set, specifically to see the Barbie is a fascist patriarchal tool scene, because the execs read that and was like, hold on just a moment there.
I will say, in terms of set design, excellent movie. They got the sets down
Service
pat.
guarantees
Like,
citizenship.
Okay,
They caused a worldwide shortage of pink.
kind of, yeah. So
No,
so
like
for example,
unironically, they did.
wait, really? Like pink
Yes.
paint or something?
Heresy's
Yes.
the question.
Oh,
Fire
Like
I
they
didn't know
bought
that.
so much pink paint that they caused a worldwide shortage of it.
That's actually funny.
Yeah.
Yes. So when I was watching it with Naomi, we both remarked that they really went out of their way to make the sets look like real toys, which they are real toys, right? But like, so for example, at the beginning of the movie when Ken's hurt and he's on the beach and they call the ambulance to pick him up, the ambulance like drives onto the beach and then it unfolds like it's a toy. So like the entire ambulance opens up and like swings open and it's like really ridiculous. It's like that's
Heresy's
actually really
the
clever,
question.
you know? The
Fire
art
is the
design in this
answer.
movie is amazing, independent of the story.
Art design is not bad, but I also say, okay, your argument is she destroyed Kenanism because she lost her house. Why does she have a
Partially.
house?
Yeah.
Why is she
the-
attached to the house?
Yeah. So the issue ultimately is that they don't outright say it in the movie, but they kind of expect you to put the pieces together, is that the Kens are all homeless, right?
The thing is,
I figured that out.
this is the thing, right?
Yeah.
This is the interesting thing. I think the people who wrote this didn't actually think about any of this, pretty much. And they just imagined what they would view a feminist paradise to be. And so they didn't actually give two thoughts about the men's situation. Because they even mentioned, what was it? Barbie lives in her dream house, where with all of the things that she bought for her own money, etc. You know? Because they mentioned stuff like that. Like, Barbie Land has some sort of an economy, somehow, yet it is never referred to. It is simply just they said these things are there because these things would be feminist, and that's about it. Whereas the Kens, they don't live anywhere. They don't have homes. They don't have property rights. They're not even allowed to sit next to women when they're driving.
Right. But here's the thing. So there's that scene where after, a day of fun,
I have lost.
Ken asks Barbie if they can have some alone time. And then Barbie says no because it's girls' night. And you look over and it's all the girls, like they're all the other Barbies are dressed up in pajamas and they're having their pillow fight. And she's like, listen, it's girls' night and it's girls' night every night, so we can never have any fun. And then
Yes.
Ken says, okay, I understand. And then Ken, like he's obviously really hurt, but he tries to play it off as if he's cool. He walks away into the shadows of the night. But then later on in the movie, they say that the Kens don't even have homes to go to. So the implication is that the Kens are homeless.
Yes.
They just wait until the Barbies need them, basically.
Yeah, no, they do outright say that as well. I remember early on in the movie, they say Barbie has a great day every day. Ken only has a great day if Barbie looks at him.
Yes, exactly. So later in the movie, when Ken takes over, and he takes over Barbie's house, there's that one scene where he says, sorry, Barbie, you have to leave. It's men's night,
Yeah.
and it's men's night every night. And then he gets in really close, and he actually looks a little bit sinister, and he kind of whispers at her, how does it feel? And that's kind of when Barbie loses it, right? And that's the moment where I thought, oh, okay, this is what this is about, all right? Ken is getting his revenge, and Barbie feels terrible because now she's on the receiving end of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was her primary motivation to undo all of it.
So the writer is saying that they don't want you to view Ken as the villain. Like the writer is going with like this deep philosophical thought that any gender on top of the other is bad. But what they did make is that Barbies and Kens can't work together.
Well, yeah,
Like that is the
If-
message of the movie.
if their message was any gender on top is bad, they did an incredibly poor job of showing it off, because the movie, of course, ends with the Barbies cooing the poles and reinforcing absolute matriarchy.
That's true. But then the president even says, okay, we'll give some of the Kens some lower positions in the court system.
Well,
you can be like minor judges. And
Sorta.
that's like the concession.
Sorta,
Yeah.
but I also want to point out, like, this, like, hey, can we at least have one Supreme Court judge? And she laughs at them first, and it's like, oh, maybe if you behave, you can get some circuit court judges or something.
Yeah.
It's
I
not a
think the implication
concession,
there
it's a
is
treat given to a hound.
The implication there is that the Barbies are acting the way that I'm not sure if it's accurate, but the way that men are perceived to have acted before first wave feminism.
Yes, that is the point that they're trying to make with all of
Yeah.
this.
And there's probably some accuracy there, but it's obviously done with a heavy hand.
Well, Barbie Land is intended to be a reflection of, like, how we were supposed to act towards women, except not through all of human history has there been quite this bad of an imbalance.
Well, it depends where you go, Arch. I mean, there's probably some place in the Middle East where it's kind of bad, but I know what you mean. Like in Europe, yeah.
Like, even then, women have at least basic property rights. Even in the Middle East, a woman's dowry is hers.
So I'm actually
I guess, like,
researching
look,
go ahead.
the moral of the story is that when Kens do what they want, they're happy, and when Kens listen to the Barbies, they end up shirtless, destitute, and craving for attention.
I don't think that's the case, actually.
But I mean, that's not the case. That's literally in the fucking movie. It's
Well, no,
like
because-
when they do what the Barbies want, they're shirtless, they don't have any property, and they just want the attention of the Barbie, who doesn't want to give it to them because she's more interested in making other female friends.
Here, that's no, I don't think that's the moral of the movie. I wrote something out here. I actually posted it on a different video, but I can read it here. Do you mind, Arch? This is like my thesis of the movie.
Yeah, no, go on.
Okay, so here I'm gonna have to. It's gonna sound kind of ridiculous, but just roll with it for a second, okay? Although the Barbies' social stations are lowered in a material sense while they're living in Ken's revolution, they also
Heresy's
seem
the
to be
question.
happier.
Fire is the answer.
Which is you see them all like the president. She's not the president anymore. She's like in a bathing suit serving the men, but she's like smiling and happy, right? She seems happier doing it. A lot of feminists who watch the movie, they look at this and they see the contrast between happy
Heresy's
and
the
dumb
question.
versus
Fire is
realistic
the
and
answer.
actualized, and they rightfully point out that the Barbies' choice to return to their empowering existence is in its own way an acceptance of reality rather than remaining blind. But what they miss is that during the arrangement,
Heresy's
the
the
Kens
question.
are doing
Fire is the
everything for
answer.
their Barbies. They're monogamous and they're utterly devoted to them. Almost everything they do is in tribute to their Barbies, whether that's showing them how to play sports or fixing their cars or writing songs about them. The Barbies are acting in service to the Kens, but the Kens are also acting in service to the Barbies. The only Barbie who isn't engaged with her Ken like this is the main Barbie, because the main Ken spitefully proves a point about how awful he had been treated earlier. And the whole state of affairs is broken by Barbie taking advantage of the Ken's devotion to the other Barbies in order to abduct them and deprogram them, a sequence which culminates with all the deprogrammed Barbies cheating on their Kens, as much as you can cheat with no genitals, causing them to get jealous of each other and then fracture as a political movement. What makes the whole sequence really interesting is that the Barbies are deprogrammed by the human woman giving a feminist rant about how hard it is to be a woman. And though it really is straight out of the bedroom feminist YouTube of 2014, there's still some truth to it. Men could probably give a similar rant about how hard it is to be a man, but she's not wrong. But she's giving this rant to Barbies, and Barbies don't have the same feminist problems that human women do. The various troubles and contradictions of the expectations of womanhood makes sense for the human woman to be spouting off about, but it doesn't make sense for the Barbies to internalize because they've never lived like that and they've never had those problems.
Oh my God, Dev, make a point in 30 seconds or less. Jesus fucking
And
Christ,
yet,
man.
that's what wakes them up from being devoted to their
Cut the
Kens.
fucking commercials at least.
even
Make some
though-
money out of the random. Jesus.
Even though the Kens never actually treat their Barbies anywhere near as badly as the human men treat the human women in the real world. So
Yeah,
this
that's
is
true. But
so
like even in the real world,
there's one sentence left. There's one sentence left because here's what ties it all together. All right,
okay,
this
Chad,
isn't complete.
this is the good one. This is the good.
Yes,
Listen, right?
this is completely unintentional, but the way that the story is structured, how the Barbies get brainwashed, how they get unbrainwashed, is literally that feminist propaganda will make women hate perfectly good men that they once loved, and that's the core of the story.
That's literally what I fucking said in 5 seconds, Dev. I literally said that they needed to brainwash other Barbies in order for them to be awake of their oppression. Like they had to kidnap happy Barbies in order to tell them, well, actually, did you know that you're being oppressed?
Yeah, and I also think
I wanted to explain it in detail. I want to explain it in detail.
You are being too charitable to the Barbies, because we see no sign that any of the other Barbies are in relationships with any of the other Kens. There is nothing to suggest that every Ken isn't treated like as shit as Ken.
Well, during the Kenvolution, right, the Kenvolution period of Barbie Land, they are monogamous. Like if you the beach scene before everything gets subverted.
Yes, but that is
one
after,
Ken is paired with one Barbie.
That is after Ken has enforced his rule. Like there's no sign of that happening before.
Yes, but that's what I mean though, is that basically that in the Kenvolution, the Kens are now in charge, and they are above the Barbies in the social hierarchy. But nonetheless, despite being in charge of everything, they've become monogamous. And they still do everything for the Barbies they're paired with, which is interesting because if this were just a pure feminist propaganda movie, you would expect the patriarchy to be absolutely destroying Barbie Land and like treating women like shit, but they don't.
Well, they view this as being treated like shit, as being just the object. This is their version of shit. That's why they give the incredibly basic bitch feminist rant that wakes them up. And I found...
Yeah, but they're wrong. The point is that they're wrong. They don't actually treat them like shit. It's just feminist nonsense.
Yes, but that is the feminist view, and this is written by a feminist. And here,
I know.
The basic bitch feminist rant. Let me just read you a little bit of this here. You have to be masculine, but not overtly masculine. That's toxic. And you can never say you want to be manly. You have to say that you embrace your feminine side, which is just as powerful, but you still have to be manly. You have to have money, but you can't ask for money because that's pitiful. You have to be a boss, but you must never tell a woman what to do, etc., etc. Like, the entirety of the feminist rant can just as easily be switched onto the male side.
Yes, exactly, and that's kind of the point. Is that even if the human woman has a point with her big, it's like 2/3 way through the movie, she gives the big thesis statement of the movie as the feminist rant. Even if she has a point there, which she does, to be fair, it all applies to men too. Yes. It all applies to men as well, and they're completely ignoring that.
Well, the thing is, because none of this was intentional, I do not buy for a second that this was the intention of the movie. I simply believe that the person who wrote this has no actual deep understanding of the points that they are speaking about. They simply don't understand. Like, I literally believe that this is the equivalent of the new guy meme. You remember that one? You did a video on it, right?
I did, yeah.
Yes. So, in case Chad is unaware, the new guy meme was a thing from
I have lost
the 2000s. It's ancient now. But
it was 2020. It was right before the pandemic.
Ancient. But it's a comic where there's the self-insert, the woman with the problem glasses, going like, hey, the PewDiePie got robbed. And the new guy's like, hey, how would you like it if you got robbed? That's a bit weird. And she just puts him down. And they're expecting the insert character to be the good guy here. They're expecting to receive a charitable interpretation like, oh, yeah, you tell that silly person who doesn't like other people getting robbed. Because they have no understanding of how hideous their own worldview is.
So you think that's the case here, is that the writer of this movie actually wanted Ken to be like a villainous character and just didn't understand because she's so disconnected from the real world?
I wouldn't say villainous, because he's presented as far too much of an idiot to be villainous. But he's presented throughout the movie as utterly incompetent. Like, he never makes an argument of his own. He simply borrows books about horses and goes like, no, give me beer. Like, he is presented as an absolute unironic parody. And if earlier on he had any sort of agency, he would simply be viewed as an incompetent revolutionary. As even when his revolution fails, he doesn't fight it. He simply goes and cries and goes like, I didn't like patriarchy either. He is intended to be...
I have lost.
Not malicious, just stupid. Like, his entire worldview was intended to be delivered as a joke and as something extraordinarily dumb. But the problem is that in so doing, the writer has actually presented us with a tale that genuinely resonates with a lot of men who looks at this and go like, yeah, I kind of do feel as if we're being treated pretty damn poorly by the women, and I do feel like they're taking advantage of it.
So I mean, I kind of get that. It's possible that's what it is. I'm not completely sure though, because there was that scene after Ken learns about the patriarchy, but before he goes back to Barbie Land. And he's going around the real world trying to get a job. And he's like, listen, can I be a doctor? They're like, no, you're not qualified. He's like, but I'm a man. It's like, you're not qualified. You can't be a doctor. And like he tries to get like 3 or 4 different very technical jobs, and he can't do it. And like that right there just says, being a man actually isn't enough. The movie outright says being a man is not enough to just rule the world.
Does, but he also then asks one person like, you're not doing patriarchy very well. And he leans in and goes like, no, we are. We're just hiding it better.
See, I honestly just kind of took that as more of like a joke or like a delusional joke than an actual statement of fact.
Well, that's the thing, V.
No, that's the Robin DiAngelo version of racismus. It's like now the Americans are still doing racismus, but they're doing it hiddenly, like under the table. And I never understand like this. It's like if basically, like, if women could just overthrow the patriarchy, then why don't they do it? And if women can't overthrow the patriarchy, then why do men have to do it under the table?
Yeah. No, it's not a... I don't think it's a joke in the slightest. I think it is actually, again, delusion. Though
it's part of their ideology.
The one part that I am willing to at least entertain your theory on this, Dev, even though I think you're a complete moron... is the one scene where the Mattel director is calling back to the real world after seeing the Ken evolution, and he's going like, what the hell's happening at Mattel? And they're like, we're selling Ken toys faster than we can produce them. Like, people are loving this. And one interpretation of this is simply the patriarchy being the patriarchy, eating up the patriarchy product. But the more charitable interpretation would be that the writer understands that there is actually a genuinely underserved market of men that have simply never been paid attention to or catered to in this regard, whom they're finally getting a product, are like, holy shit, something for me? Wow.
So I think the reason I think this way is because, and I can't find confirmation of this, but I've heard from multiple different places that the writer of the movie, Greta Gerwig, is that she's explicitly a second wave feminist and not a third or fourth wave feminist, right?
Oh yeah, I mean the movie is transphobic, so
yes,
yeah. So for some reason I'm just thinking like I don't think she's part of like the postmodernist era of feminism. I think she comes from before that, even though she's a millennial, so she's younger than that era. But the brand of feminism that she personally believes in seems to be of a generation prior.
I think the simplest solution is really that she didn't understand what she was doing and ended up accidentally creating this. That is my firm conviction.
Well, I guess we'll see, because Mattel has already announced that they're making a second one, and they're making they're making now a Mattel expanded universe of all their various toy properties. They're all going to be a movie now.
Yes.
I can't fucking wait for that garbage.
And it's not going to work out well, because Barbie was an accidental success. Like, beyond Ken, there are very few parts of the movie I found even remotely tolerable. There was a couple of jokes that I was like, okay, that's mildly funny. But Ken was the heart and soul of the movie.
Oh, Jesus. Yes, he was. Yeah. I mean, Barbie went through her own arc, but unlike Ken's arc, hers, like, and in the last minute of the movie, like, all the other characters kind of just step back, and then Barbie's like, I want to be a real woman. And then she goes off to the real world and becomes like a fallible human who will eventually age and die, right? and that's kind of the ending of her arc. And it doesn't really tie in with the rest of what's going on, because like you see this a lot, like the Pinocchio story, right, where Pinocchio wants to be a real boy, and Data from Next Generation, you know, all these characters, they want to be human because they're not human, and they're willing to accept being fallible and getting old and dying and heartbreak and all of these human things.
Oh, you
'Cause they-
didn't see the new Pinocchio then?
oh no, I didn't. No, I haven't seen that one
He
yet. No.
doesn't get it to be a boy.
Oh, okay.
Basically, no. It's literally like it doesn't really matter if he's a boy or not because he's a boy at heart.
Oh, that's the pro-trans conversation, right? Yeah, because it's funny because like there's the final line of the movie is that Barbie, as a real human woman now, walks into an office, and it's set up like she's gonna go get a job, but she's actually going to her gynecologist, right?
Yes.
And one, that's just like a funny throwaway line, like haha, okay, I get it. But two, the deeper meaning there is that in order to become a real woman, she had to get a real vagina.
Yep.
Because
you
the
have to
Barbies
have a
don't-
vagina to be a woman.
Yeah. Because the Barbies and the Kens don't have genitals. So it's a very transphobic final statement if you think about it, which is pretty funny.
Yep.
But like the the underlying arc of a character like this is, inhuman intelligence wants to become human. Okay, got it.
Pharisee's the
But
question.
Barbie's
Fire
never
is the
wanted that
answer.
until the final 5 minutes of the movie. Like the entire
Yeah, and
Barbie's
it's also like a thing where it makes no sense because their existence is literally above humanity. I mean, they're always happy. They have
guarantees
everything they
citizenship.
want. They don't need anything. Why would you want? And not to mention, like, humans die. I mean, they're immoral. If anything, like, they're like some fictional fairy or something. You know, like Pinocchio being made out of wood, I can understand why he would want to be a real boy, because like he wants to interact with other things, because like he's lonely. Same with Data. Like Data is lonely. There's no one else like him, and he doesn't understand the emotions and stuff. But like there are other Barbies that like she can actually interact with other of
Heresy's
her
the
kind. There
question.
is literally
Fire
no
is the
need for her
answer.
to undergo the transformation.
Well, I think the reason is because she's called stereotypical Barbie, right? Because there's like Dr. Barbie who is a doctor and runs the hospital, and there's construction worker Barbie who like builds the roads, right? As stereotypical Barbie, she has no job. She has no place, really. She's just the model upon which the other Barbies are built. So I think she just feels like she has nothing. So she wants to have something for herself.
I disagree, because the drive that makes her human isn't the need to want something. It isn't an aspiration. It isn't like, oh, I'm gonna do this. It's, hey, do you ever think about death?
Right, yeah, and that's because of the depression, because of her human counterpart like ruining with the doll, yeah. But I think over the course of the movie, she grows into wanting to be human. It's just that it happens so like quickly at the very end. Like the majority of the majority of her character arc is recognizing how badly she has treated Ken, and how the entire civilization has fallen apart because of her stupidity. And that's why she has that breakdown 2/3 of the way through. She's like crying on the road, right? Because she
Even
realized, oh shit, everything, I fucked everything up. Like, that's
even
her
then,
story arc.
I think you're being very charitable, because she wasn't crying because she realized she'd done something bad. She's crying because her feminist paradise didn't exist anymore. Like, at no point does she actually try to reconcile with Ken. She immediately goes for the seduction and rigging the votes plan. And only thereafter does she say, like, oh, I guess not every night needs to be girls' night. Like, her surrender on these matters are so minuscule as to barely be in existence. If anything, she has recognized that her pet dog occasionally needs to be fed.
Yes, this is the thing. Like, I'm not saying this part of the story is well done, because it's not. But I can see how you could have a much better story in the hands of a better writer, because the core is there. There's a good skeleton. You could do an actual like tortured soul Barbie who really feels bad about what happened after everything blew up in her face.
Instead, that tortured soul is Ken, which is why people like that.
Yep.
Again, that final scene where he like gives up his revolution and goes and cries was actually genuinely kind of touching, where it's like, but I don't matter. And in another universe, that would feel flat and flaccid and dumb. Like, of course you matter. You're a human being with agency, etc. But in this world, he literally doesn't. His entire existence before this has been less than window dressing.
Yep. So, are we all on the side of the Kenvolution then?
Yep, I think so.
I mean, a system where almost everyone is happy. You know. By the way, I did hear like the argument that what the Barbie did isn't bad, like brainwashing other people, because in the beginning, like Ken was brainwashed by the other Kens. But I don't think like Ken was brainwashed by the other Kens. Like Ken just talked to the other Kens, and they were like, "Yeah, you know what? Like he's got a point." While Barbie had to physically restrain other Barbies.
Yes, and then give them basically the brainwashing treatment. Because you gotta understand too, Ken didn't understand any of the rules of patriarchy. He hadn't studied this shit. He picked up a library book. It was like, yep, patriarchy was when men were in charge and they were horses. Like, he didn't make a philosophical argument. He just went like, hey, maybe we could suffer less for a bit.
Yep, pretty much. It was horses and cars,
Service
I think.
guarantees
Just,
citizenship.
very stereotypical manly stuff. Surprisingly not guns, but I guess they wanted to keep it.
Well,
PG-13.
it's the current year.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the Barbie movie was surprisingly good for all the wrong reasons, I imagine. And right now, there's a bit of a culture war going on for which side will be able to claim the Barbie movie. As this kind of goes back to something I've been saying previously. We don't need to be on the defensive all the time anymore. The pendulum is swinging in our direction. We can be on the offensive. We can claim things. And Ken and the Barbie movie is absolutely something we could and should claim for us.
See, I don't even view it as claiming it necessarily in the name of the right wing. I'm not a right winger, right? So I don't really care. But like, just claim it for normies, normal relationships, normal politics, just normal life. The idea that, oh, you don't have to have a matriarchy. You can just have a social situation where boyfriends and girlfriends do things for each other because they love each other and they're monogamous. There you go. Which is, by the way, is a radical fucking point of view in 2023, as I've recently learned. Okay, listen to this, all right? It'll be a short tangent, I promise. So I recently spoke to like a young cousin who's like 14 years old, someone in the family, right? And this person told me that having a monogamous relationship is right wing. And I'm like, hold on. So just wanting like a girlfriend to just like not even anything crazy, nothing super traditional, just regular girlfriend you can have a regular life with, in the normie sense, that's right wing. And my cousin was like, yes. And I'm like, okay, is that how Zoomers view this now? Is that the way this is?
Probably to a degree, because as we move ever further leftwards, everything must become right wing. And the thing is, I don't even agree that there was much of right wing in the Ken evolution, because again, Ken didn't understand what the hell he was doing. But like, again, when I say claiming Ken and Barbie, I don't even mean claiming it for the right wing. The right wing's crazy enough. I simply mean claiming it. Mine now. Not feminist. Not feminist is what I'm claiming it as.
Yeah. Not left, basically.
Yes. Not left.
Yeah, I can get behind that. Like if we talk about left and right, I just feel like they're both cringe. If you talk about left and not left, there's a lot of wiggle room in the middle,
Yes. But right, I intended for this to be like a 5-minute, yes, we like Ken thing. It expanded.
I should do like a big fucking long essay on Barbie. I love the movie. It's so great.
I also wish to give just a quick shout out here to another Disney success, as Mattel is becoming the next great name in entertainment. Marvel's Secret Invasion, which is sinking what little remains of Disney Plus.
I can stay disinterested longer than they can stay solvent.
I imagine you can.
Do not know what the fuck that is.
Yeah, I don't. Here's the thing. So, I was talking to Mahler maybe a week or two ago, and he offered me, basically, he was going to talk about Barbie on EFAP, and I was like, I'll talk about EFAP. Great, I'll talk about Barbie on EFAP. That's awesome. I love Barbie. And he's like, yeah, we're doing a double header though. We're doing Secret Invasion and Barbie, and I was like, nope. Much as I love Barbie, nope, I'm not doing. Sorry, Mahler, I'll come on next time. I do not give a shit about Marvel. All right, at the very least, you can make an argument that Marvel was a bit cheesy, a bit overplayed, but at least a functioning, coherent product of a bunch of different interlocking movies and shows up until the end of the Thanos arc, right? Because you've been building up to this guy for like 10 fucking years, all these pieces coming together. It was pretty well done. And then after they beat Thanos, the Marvel Cinematic Universe had no reason to exist. No, now it was just money.
This is where you're wrong. No, I'll tell you what happened.
Okay.
Let me explain.
Sure.
So you have actual comic books written by competent people, Dev. Most of them right-wingers, as they would be classified by the current cultural zeitgeist. Right-wingers. The right-wingers create shit, okay? And then you have the left-wingers, and they subvert and destroy. Okay? Now, what happens is that the movies were done by the original comics, and then they ran out of material, and they went into the progressive era of Marvel, so they don't have comics that they can write. Just so you can know how bad it is, like behind the scenes, there was a talk when before they did like Endgame, they had the modern writers coming in, the one with inclusivity and shit, and they were laughed out of the room. Like they didn't need them because like they didn't add anything to the table.
The people who made those superheroes, what's it called, Snowflake and Safe Space? Those two superheroes.
Like literally, like they ran out of material. Like the moment, so when you had like Thor, or actually the first Avenger movie. You had that running in the cinema. And when you went to the comic book store, like literally within that period, you couldn't find a single superhero from the movie. Thor was replaced by a woman. Hulk was replaced by an Asian Hulk. Iron Man was replaced by a black sassy lady. Like literally all the superheroes from the movies didn't exist in the comic books because Marvel fired or changed all of their writers in the name of inclusivity, diversity, and equity. So those people didn't create any good story. Like all they did was getting their comic books canceled. Like this is the era where we get Zoe Quinn as a comic book writer. This is what I'm talking about, right? Mm-hmm. So after Endgame, you look at the comics, every story is shit. They don't have the material to write or base the story at. And I'm pretty much sure like this is the point where they're like, all right, well, we need to make the movies diverse too. So this is like when you start noticing a lot of social justice being pushed into Marvel movies. Like I remember there was a line in Spider-Man about white privilege and other type of crap. It's like it was like right in the beginning. It's just like a one-liner. You blink and you miss it. But the fact that it's there kind of tells you about the type of people that are now writing them.
The thing is too, Secret Invasion is a comic book storyline from a fair bit before. It kind of works with the Thanos snap because the idea of Secret Invasion is that you had no idea which one of the heroes were actually dead and had been replaced by Skrull, which were shapeshifters, which is an interesting storyline in an established universe. Like, you don't actually know if these heroes came back to life through plot MacGuffin, or if they're actually Skrull infiltrators, which leads to some very interesting and tense ideas. And the comic book is not bad. It overplays its role too much in that any established franchise that goes for the shock effect of killing off a character falls pretty flat on its face in the current day because that character is going to be back alive again 5 minutes later in another comic book. But in theory, it's quite cool. What the problem with the Secret Invasion of Marvel is that they didn't follow the comic book at all. It's completely rewritten. It makes no sense. There are people who have been Skrulls for so long that it literally couldn't happen. War Machine was supposed to be a Skrull when he was arguing with Iron Man, for example, in the Iron Man movies, which makes no sense. Why would he even bother trying to get Tony out of his depression if he's a fucking alien invader?
Yeah, how long has it been since the snap now? Like 5 or 6 years?
Yeah,
they should have done this story like right away.
Yes. If they had done it immediately, it would have made at least a degree more sense. It's also that they've completely revamped the storyline and broken the characters as well. So one of the big complaints that people have is that one of the new characters, Gianni, who was in the comic, but she was a minor side character, she is now the single most powerful character in the entirety of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. She has the power of Thor, of Hulk, of Captain America, and like a dozen other heroes. She can't be beat. She's God now.
I have lost. Shit. Wow. Sounds like something I don't want to watch.
Yes, no, the writing is genuinely terrible. And for a while, like, I watched a couple episodes before just going completely sick of it. Like, Nick Fury's performance. What's his name again? Famous black guy.
Snakes on a plane, yeah.
Yes, that guy.
And Star Wars, yeah.
Yes, Mace
I
Windu.
forget his name too. Fuck, Mace Windu, yeah. What the fuck's his name? How can I? Hold on. Samuel L. Jackson.
There was a
Samuel L.
story
Jackson,
in
there
the
you go.
comic books,
Yeah.
where universes are so there's like parallel dimensions going around, and there's an event which causes like two dimensions to merge, and both get destroyed. So basically, like another Earth appears next to our Earth, and then the planets move towards one another and they crash into each other. And as this happens, it creates a chain reaction that wipes out the universe. And all the multiverses are dying. Now, the reason this is interesting is that one, you have like all the other forces from the universe try to first destroy Earth, because if you destroy the Earth, then when the other Earth appears, you don't have like the collision event. So the superheroes are defending Earth from all the external forces. And then when the other Earth appears, the superheroes from that parallel dimension on that Earth are trying to destroy our Earth and vice versa. And this actually destroyed the entire Marvel universe. But what Dev is saying, like, well, there's no story to be made. Like, that was an interesting story because you now have, like, Captain America or Iron Man, and they're like, well, we need, in order to survive, to destroy billions of innocent people. Like, can we do that? And it causes, like, an interesting drama and an interesting conversation, and how, like you have Doctor Strange fighting the Captain America from another universe, or, like, what other heroes are there. Like, you can still make interesting movies. It's just you need good writers, and you need to actually focus on entertainment and not the politics that no one likes.
Yeah, you need to focus on making the story, which is what they failed to do here. Like, again, Nick Fury has a pretty good performance, but you can tell that even he's getting tired of this shit. And the TV show just falls flat. And it just joins the long line now of Marvel TV shows that no one's interested in. Starting out with like Initiative of S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatever, that TV show, which was dreadful. Loki,
Agents of
which
S.H.I.E.L.D.,
yeah, Loki received like at least some like good press, but that too wasn't the best. And this is just the final low point of Marvel. And most importantly, it's of course that it's another $200 million loss for Disney, even as they're already several $100 million in the hole.
Mm-hmm. So from what I recall, I don't know anybody who watched Moon Knight, but I think some people said it was okay. Loki was season 1 of Loki was enjoyed. There was another one. Oh, WandaVision. Everyone liked WandaVision for some reason. I haven't seen any of these, but apparently people really like WandaVision. She-Hulk is like a disaster. I know Arch, like, it was supposed to be like you and me, Kibbs, and I think Lilith, we're gonna get together and watch She-Hulk for one of our channels at some point, and like none of us wanted to do it because they're just like, oh my, She-Hulk. I think it's probably one of the worst shows that's come out of this is She-Hulk. Yeah, I can't think of a single good Marvel show. No.
Do you know that it's
No.
CGI? Like, they actually had to get a special effects there in order to make her ass like that. No, I'm not kidding. Like, they were very proud of it.
Yeah, those poor Koreans. Meanwhile, though, I think getting off of Marvel for a bit, just going to Disney Plus, like, didn't they just take down the Willow show? Like, they made Willow, and Willow sucked so hard they just took it off Disney Plus. It was like an active detriment to the service. Yeah. And I mean, I don't know anybody who cares about any of the upcoming Star Wars stuff either. Right?
Actually, I found the list here. It wasn't just Willow. There was, oh Jesus, there's a long list of several dozen shows that were yeeted, and Bob Iger specifically said that this content was, quote, not driving subscriber growth.
Yeah, I mean, maybe because it's just my ignorance of how how this all works, but it seems like just leaving it up there can't cost you that much, Put it in the back of the search. If someone wants to watch it, they can watch it, but it's not like front page. Why take it down?
It does cost money. It costs money in royalties, and it costs money in bandwidth, etc. Like even having something on a server isn't upkeep free. Plus, a lot of these shows also were actively doing PR damage to Disney. Like Willow was terrible.
That's too bad. I liked the movie when I was a kid. It was like an okay little movie. That's too bad. But yeah, like if you look at the Star Wars stuff coming out, like no one cares about the next trilogy. They're already making like a Rey focused. Like no one gives a shit, right? No one cared about Obi-Wan last year. Andor was all right, and I'm kind of looking forward to Andor season 2. But other than that, like Ahsoka
God, in the
terrible.
trailer there were so many women. It needed more women. Watch the trailer again. Like literally in every shot, there's like 3 or 4 women, and I have nothing. You know, like if you want to make like a female centrist universe, because there's a lot of anime that have a lot of women. But when the West does it, like literally that mean when Japan does it, I'm soy face, and when the West does it, I'm disgusting. I literally know why they're doing it. Like they're doing it because the writing must be so fucking shit that is the only thing that they're like, hey, look, you know, if you don't like it, you're a bigot. You're a bigot. Buy it in order to stick it to the bigots. Yeah. I'm like, okay, well, no.
The problem isn't women, it's the bad writing. Because it's like you said, Japan showed you can actually have very interesting female characters. No problem. Very easy to do. Just write them properly, you know? Every fucking anime has great female characters.
There is no
even if their tits are out.
There are no wholesome female characters made within the last 5 years in the West that I can think of. Maybe Alita Battle Angel is the only one. But like other than that, I can't think of like a wholesome character as in this is a female character made by Disney that I would love to spend some time with. Not even like be in a relationship. I would love to be in the same room with her and have some banter. I can't think of anyone.
Yeah. I can think of a few, but they're all from like indie video games. You know, it's not like from anything mainstream.
No, like Disney.
Yeah. Disney specifically, yeah. I know what you mean.
There is not a single wholesome female character, not one.
The biggest problem with Andor was that there was too much Andor in it.
I liked the prison arc in Andor. That was kind of fun. Like there was some good stuff in Andor, for real.
Yeah, the back end logistics was interesting. I just wish we'd stop with the spy nonsense.
Yes, seeing like the Imperials, seeing the ISB go around and like do all their spy stuff. That was fun. That was neat.
Want a show of the ISB. I don't give a shit about Andor or the Rebellion. I just want more ISB.
What was the ISB's analog in Nazi Germany? The Abwehr?
Probably the
It's like their intelligence service. Yeah.
The Abwehr was the military intelligence.
That picture is. Holy shit.
Right. Yeah, because the ISB they have their own bases and their own military forces, but they are an intelligence service primarily.
See, there was that one scene.
That was kind of fun to see, yeah.
Where there was a discussion between several parties in the ISB office. And it was exactly the show I wanted to see. It was a refined discussion between intellectual equals, debating a point and outmaneuvering each other with information and verbiage. And it was brilliant. Like, the performances were excellent, and the conversation flowed. And it was interesting to see which party would come out on top in this internal power struggle. It was infinitely more interesting than watching Andor shout for the 100th time, like, oh no, my plan is screwed up again.
Well, also, Arch, when that middle of the show, the middle third of the show where Andor's in the prison, and you see like the daily prison life, and then the eventual prison ride, that was all good stuff too.
I was infinitely more interested in how the prison operated, and hoping that Andor would step on the electrocuted floor.
So Andor was good, and Andor season 2 I'm kind of looking forward to, but nothing else coming out for Star Wars in terms of Disney just looks good at all, right? So Ahsoka looks terrible. I know there's some Ahsoka simps out there from the old days, but the show looks terrible. What was that other show? Is it called The Acolytes or something? It has fucking Philosophy Tube in it. Because Philosophy Tube's in it?
Nope. Because it sounds like a complete and utter unabridged trash fire.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking too. But I think the cherry on top of that cake will be the fact that they cast Philosophy Tube in a role. That's going to be fucking great. I can't wait to see how bad it goes. Like, because we all know it's going to go badly.
Ahsoka was so bad it killed Titus Pullo.
Oh, has Ahsoka already come out?
No, but okay. Titus Pullo. I don't remember his real name. he played in Rome. He was an excellent actor. And he died shortly after. Ray Stevenson, that was his name apparently. He died shortly after finishing Ahsoka. It was so bad, it fucking killed Titus Polo.
Jesus. Someone in the
This
chat
is the
says,
interesting thing about, like, a lot of people say, well, if you don't like it, don't watch it. It's like, it kills the IPs. Like, no
worst
one wants to
part
buy the
is-
toys.
Heresies.
No
Ray
one wants to watch
Stevenson
it.
Fire is the answer.
looked like fucking fire in that show. Like, he looked so good, he almost got me interested in watching it, and the show killed him.
show killed him.
Yeah, it's called the bait and switch, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was tragic.
Like, I just got baited, and they switched.
So someone in the chat says that Ahsoka has stolen Luke's expanded universe story. I'm pretty sure that Rey did, because I don't know if you guys noticed, but for the upcoming new Star Wars films with Rey Skywalker coming back, her job now is to rebuild the Jedi Order. She's gonna build it from scratch, and it's like, hold on, that was what Luke was supposed to fucking do in the previous 3 films.
Yep, but luckily they've killed him, so they can get somebody else to do it.
Yep, they just
Do you think, like, maybe she will have, like, a minor role? Like she's busy doing that, so she can't go on the adventure.
I doubt it. I hope she's just gonna die. That's all I hope for.
Well, I actually am not interested. I can stay disinterested longer than they can stay solvent, Arch.
Yep. Same. I don't care anymore. I don't
Like,
care about
literally,
any of
I'm
this
not
shit.
going. Man, like, there was a time when my heart was pumping when I saw a Star Wars trailer, and I was like, oh my god, I want to see it. Now, I genuinely don't care. Like Star Wars can be on TV right now, the new episode that no one's seen it, and I wouldn't go watch it.
Yep. Same. It's killed my love for it. I grew up with it. I love that shit.
Heresy's
And it's
the
killed my love
question.
for it.
Fire is
Same
the
with Star
answer.
Trek, to be honest. Same with a lot of these things. Just nope, don't care.
You know they're
anymore.
making a Star Trek musical, Arch?
No, I don't want to.
Oh my fucking god!
Yeah, an episode in season 2 of Strange New Worlds is going to be a musical episode.
Fantastic.
Well, actually, in that conversation, Star Trek's also suffering the same fate in that Paramount Plus pulled off one of the new Star Trek shows they made. They're just like, nope, we're just deleting this from canon. We're deleting it off the service. I know we spent a bunch of money on it, but this is gone now.
Do you know
Same-
what
same thing with
traumatizes
Willow.
me? Like what I sleep at night and it wakes me up covered in sweat and gasping for breath.
I have lost.
Stargate new seasons.
Ah, yes.
It's
We
coming,
will be
you know.
rebooting Stargate. I'm sure it'll work
Like
out well.
I will tell you how it's going to be because like someone goes like, well, but like doesn't Star Trek have diversity? Like, weren't they feminists? Didn't they have like a woman and blah blah? It's like look. You're going to have Shakila. Shakila is going to be like a perfectly genetically engineered Goa'uld host, which made a rebellion on her planet. And Shakila is expert in hand-to-hand combat. She knows a lot better science than McKay. She's a great fighter pilot. She's a good charismatic team leader. She knows the history of the entire galaxy. She needs
I
no
have
man.
lost.
Like, she will be her entire team. And everyone else in the team is just going to be comedy relief for her. That's how they're going to make Stargate for the modern audience.
Quite likely.
So in that same vein, Christopher Lloyd, the guy who played Dr. Emmett Brown in Back to the Future, he's been pushing hard in the past couple of years to get a Back to the Future 4, to do like a soft reboot, to have the time traveling shenanigans be passed on to a new generation, and he specifically is like partially in with a script that wants to make it all about climate change.
Of course he is.
And so it sounds like the most cancerous fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. I hope it never gets made. Like, Back to the Future has been left pristine, alone from all of this reboots and revamps nonsense. I hope it just stays that way. Just leave it in the past.
I hope it doesn't. I hope everyone suffers. But right. Since we've finally finished with the 10-minute preamble,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll go do some super chats, and then we'll get on to our first topic of the day, which will be the adventures of Hunter and his dad. Right, so the real whole set says, Dev, you liked Barbie, right? He did, a little bit too much.
I did like an hour-long discussion with Naomi on my side channel. Go watch it.
Snutenhoff says the world has started to make less sense than my collection of old B movies. So I really hope the alien bit is true. An alien invasion sounds much more fun than a boring old nuke fest of World War III. Well, we're about to find out, I guess. Octo Greg says, just heard that the Witcher series is done for. Personally, I would have liked to have seen how Hemsworth Light would have screwed up Geralt. Oh, are they? We'll see about that.
Is season 4 canceled? Really?
I haven't heard anything to that.
Yeah, neither have I. I heard that basically, I haven't seen it yet, but what I've heard from people who have seen the full season, it just ended just recently, is that they're doing like a weird multiverse thing to explain the actor switch at the end of season 3.
Everything needs a fucking multiverse, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Sandoom says, Arch, the bonking stick of silence is here. In case of rambling, Dev and V's pop up. Mike James says, instead of Snow White, I just watched the Rammstein music video for Sauna. The Rammstein's made some spicy things. Rammstein's Deutschland was all the rage for a little bit there. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, he made Germany as a black woman. Too much diversity, I guess.
Yes, but he also that was clearly intended to provoke. That was the point of it, because he wanted to piss off literally everyone with Deutschland. And they did a good damn job of it too, because that entire music video was custom designed to piss on every single solitary group. I heard he got the lead singer got accused of rape recently, but then again, it's Tuesday, so who hasn't been? Hi also says, so is Ken a male version of a suffragette? Yes, he is. He simply wants rights. Some rights. Any rights at all. He's not even asking for much, just something. Property rights, maybe. Marksman 117B says, Barbie has too many messages done in such a poor way that people can each walk away with a different message, making it both woke and non-woke. That is not incorrect. As much as Barbie clearly is a woke movie, I don't think it is a woke movie in that it doesn't manage to get its woke message across effectively.
Yeah, it's got like a woke intention, but it doesn't come out as woke.
But it's delivered incredibly cringily, almost to comedic effect. But at the same time, it is obviously not a conservative movie either. I've seen people go like, oh, it's a conservative movie. Like, you are blind.
I mean, it's a conservative movie in the sense that it shows just how evil feminism is.
It's a conservative movie in that it doesn't make a single argument for conservatism, but it does piss on feminism. MT Vane says, Hey Art, I want to recommend an excellent book series called Galaxy's Edge, a blend of Halo and old Star Wars with a dash of grimdark in some areas. Sounds interesting. Also sounds like Disney Galaxy's Edge, and yep, that's the first thing that pops up when I try to search for it. Natürlich. Marksman 117B says, that means everyone is right except Dev. No W. That's true. Dev's interpretation is far too optimistic and charitable.
Yeah, why not?
Because no.
Listen, if the leftoids can be out here reinterpreting canon however they like, so can I.
Yes, because you are a leftoid. Gears turning.
No, I just don't want. I don't want to spend a billion years on this. Let's keep going.
God, somebody donate. I need the I have lost right now. Sujat says, how can you not see Dev as controlled opposition? It's a good question.
Man, dude, if I could get paid by like the Jewish cabal or whoever the fuck, why not? But no, unfortunately.
Sandoob says, swinging bonking stick of silence at Dev. How many times do you have to teach you this lesson, call me Dev?
Okay, I will talk for the next 15 minutes. Would you rather I do that?
Rob Bow says, can you all white pill Sargon, please? Is becoming the opposite of Churchill in 1940. Carl has claimed more ways that we will lose than Sir Winston claimed we would fight. Sargon has just finished his philosophy degree, okay? Like, he sees the world in colors of awful right now. Give him a year or two to reconfigure.
He also doesn't speak like a normal person anymore. I'm looking at something he posted on Twitter. We are in the feminine lunar. What was it like the feminine lunar era? Like what the?
I mean, he's right. We are in the lunar era. I know what that means. I'm a normal person.
Like what the?
Service guarantee.
He's going full Evola. Yeah, postmodern traditionalism. I get it, but like no one else does.
But why though? Like the whole shtick with Sargon is that he's an average dude and he's calling out the things that annoy him and framing them in a way that the average dude understands.
I don't know about that. We've been talking to Sargon about not speaking active gay for many, many years. He has refused to relent.
It's kind of interesting because
he sounds like the evil brother of Christy Winters, unironically.
see, V, you're like anti-aesthetic in such a way. We've made that joke for a while, right? Like you kind of just reject all aesthetics in the way you do things, which has its own value.
No,
right?
no.
But,
you can't be aesthetic. No. This is not what it is. It's like when you speak
hold on.
It's like, okay, when you're a doctor, you speak technical jargon with other doctors, and you speak normal human with the patients. Like,
I guess what I mean to say though is that Sargon's the opposite, in that he's too aesthetic.
Yeah, but it's
That's
not
not what
about
he's doing?
aesthetics. No. Like using flowery language for the purpose of just using flowery language is not aesthetic. I
Sure
guess
it
what
is.
I'm trying to say is that when you're a smart person, you use something that's said in a lot of words and you simplify it. When you try to I don't know, like compensate, I guess, you take something simple and you use a lot of words to describe it. And this is what like people in the media do. And I mean, okay, fine. You know, it's a way of doing things. I don't necessarily like disagree with it, but I don't like it.
See, the thing is, I actually think you're defeating your own point there a little bit, because referring this to as the lunar era is putting a very complex idea in very few words. And a lot of people will probably understand what lunar era refers to just off the feel of the words. It's something soft and fading.
Yeah, it's the night as
Yes.
compared to the day. Yeah.
The decline.
Also, Holzner, he took here. It's okay, Holzner. I just want to point this out real quick. You said that I said that the right was reading about this being a feminist movie. When I said that, I was specifically referring to Ben Shapiro, who burned Barbie dolls.
Yeah, that was good old fashioned.
That was a bit much, wasn't it? Yeah, that was a bit much. I don't mean to say that like every right wing person out there, like no. I was making a commentary more on. There's a few people who went a bit too far with their commentary on the Barbie movie on the right. I think that's all.
But like all leftists, he made sweeping generalizations. It's Dev after all.
No, I didn't. I did not make. They were interpreted as sweeping generalizations by other people.
Oh, interpreted as sweeping generalizations. I see.
Mm-hmm.
The real whole sentence says, Dev, feminists don't know what it means to be treated badly. I know a lot of them intimately. They don't have the first clue. They never think about how bad things can be or what is done for them. I agree. I tend to agree with that. A lot of women in the first world have no fucking earthly clue. And this isn't even a first world thing. This is a woman thing. Again, I brought this example up so many times, but one of my friends who served in Afghanistan with the Norwegian Corps there, the women were the most dangerous. And this was something that everyone down there recognized. Women were dangerous. Men understood that if they walked slowly towards an armed patrol, they were gonna get fucking turned into red mist. Women didn't care. They'd do that whilst carrying explosives. They'd send children with explosives and vehicles, because somewhere in their mind, they have this assumption that they are somehow inviolate. And it seems to be just a woman thing.
Well, I mean, I can say from like my personal experience, I grew up in a dangerous neighborhood, you know, with people from all walks of life. And you kind of know how to behave in certain situations. Like if there's 4 thugs that talk shit to you, you just keep moving. You know, you don't acknowledge, you don't make eye contact. But whenever I was with a woman who was from outside that neighborhood, she'd start talking shit back to the thugs. And like one time I even asked one of them, it's like, can you take them? And she's like, what do you mean? It's like, if they come to you, can you beat all 4 of them? And she's like, no. And I'm like, neither can I. Then why do you talk shit?
That's a good.
Like I can maybe beat 1 of them, like 2 if I'm lucky. You know, if I gather a melee weapon from the ground and they don't happen to react fast enough, like okay, maybe I can take 2 of them. There are 4 individuals. All right, I'm not Van Damme. I'm not Stallone. I will not be able to defend you in that situation. Why do you talk shit? And she literally didn't have an answer. And honestly, it's only the women that did that. Like when I was with a friend from another neighborhood that was a man, like he knew, like instinctively, he knew that okay, well, we can't take them. They're on their own turf. You know, even if we take 4 of them, they will summon more. And we do not have the same amount of time to summon our reinforcements because they're from further away. So
Yep.
I do agree with what you said there, Arch.
I mostly agree too. I do think that probably like some women in the third world, they kind of get it a little bit though too. So for example, I knew a woman who came from some country in the Middle East, and she managed to come to Canada to go to school. And once she was here, she was like, "Oh my God, I'm never going back home because they treat us like such shit, and I want to stay here. So I'm gonna do well in school and get a degree and get like a work visa. I'm gonna fucking stay here." And it's like, but she got it right. She's like, you know what? I like having the rights and privileges afforded to me by living in a Western country. I'm not gonna take it for granted. So I do think that like even more feminist oriented women from the third world, they get it in a way that women here don't.
Very possible. Scott the Kilt says, "Hey Arch, what is your favorite Warhammer Fantasy novel? Also, what novel would you recommend starting with?" I would recommend starting with the very old Ambassador series of Warhammer Fantasy. If you can find it. It might not be available anymore, but it was a very good series. And it gave you a very interesting view from the position of an Imperial Ambassador to Kislev, thus the name. If you can't find that, then Gotrek and Felix, because that's been reprinted 7 million times, and you should be able to find it anywhere. Gotrek and Felix also is very good. Anubis Fox, his very first super chat, thank you very much, sir, says, "Hey, large Christ, have you heard of a game called Conquest of Elysium? It's an awesome turn-based game. It's got depth like Kibs after all the breedings." I have. I believe I even did a video on it. Conquest of Elysium is a sort of pseudo spin-off of Dominions, or well, Dominions is more like a sort of pseudo spin-off of Conquest of Elysium. It is pretty cool. Marksman for 117B says, "YouTuber Altiori made the best breakdown of Barbie, nailing both of your points and more. The film writer Greta is an ultra third wave feminist." Dev. Seppuku.
Yes.
Third wave feminist.
Yeah, third wave are the ones that all men are rapists.
Yeah, you said second. Dev. Second.
I've heard from other sources that it was second.
Second is Christina Huff Summers.
Yes. Second is like very anti-trans, and I've heard that, but I mean, who knows, right?
No. Third is like all men are rapists. So yeah, like third can be anti-trans too. Like J.K. Rowling is third. She's not second.
When in doubt, assume Dev is wrong.
I don't know.
So John says, "Dev, you're giving the feminists too much credit." I agree.
Oh, in reference to what? It's probably been too long, I guess.
The Barbie movie.
Yeah.
The Wholesaler says, "Dev, I have to ask, why do you give feminists charity? What charity have they given us?"
It's not about what charity they've given us or anyone. It's about being accurate, first and foremost. It doesn't matter if it helps some political movement or something. You should be accurate first and care about that stuff second.
And that is why Dev is a communist.
I'm a communist. I pursue facts over political expediency.
Yes, you're not my ally in this case.
Oh.
I choose the stick. Charity can come afterwards. So John says, "Equal rights for women isn't real. They have equality at the sufferance of men. Without men giving women equality, what could they do to have them?" I mean, you are right. in a purely theoretical
I
power
have
struggle,
lost.
yes,
Shit.
there is no such thing as women's being able to enforce their rights over men. But we are also a society that have gone beyond the sticks and the stones, so I agree and I don't agree at the same time.
Service guarantees
Both.
citizenship.
I hold dual positions on this.
All we have to do is just wait for Moldbug's future of having all the guns be smart guns, so that the person in charge can just turn off any rebellion at a whim, like with like just a thought in his head. He can just turn off all rebellion by disabling all the guns, and then you could actually have your matriarchy. Then you could have an instance where only women can use guns, and then they'd probably win.
Like, see, the
then.
problem is
Here's
that
the
men and
Fire
women
is
aren't
the
at
answer.
odds with each other. Like, there is nothing stopping a woman giving her gun to her husband or to her son.
Well, yes,
I mean,
that is the alternative position too. Like, why should we view it as a competition at all?
And
Well,
even
I think
then,
that's basically what the feminists.
Like, here's the problem.
Okay, go ahead.
Like the military, for instance, right? Like, you're in Ukraine. Notice how the women are fleeing Ukraine. I mean, there are some in the military, but it's not 50-50.
Mhm.
And the women are allowed to leave the country while the men have to stay, right? So, like it would be a nice scenario for if the men could leave and go in Germany
I
and
have
Britain
lost.
and Poland and have fun and make their OnlyFans and shit, while the women stay home to defend the country. But like those societies don't exist.
That is true. Sandoom says, Arch, do you think this move will become something similar to The Room, where it was intended as one thing but is later viewed as something else? Oh, absolutely. The Barbie movie's narrative is set in stone. It will not be remembered as a feminist film. I have no doubt about it. Scarfy the Strange says, when the heroes win, they will no longer be oppressed by an overt force, but a force so hidden that their grievance will be replaced by paranoia. When the good people win, good things happen. When the bad people win, like in Barbie, tyranny prevails. Yorosua says, sup guys, hope you're all well. Any recommendations on either conservative or leftist literature that is a waste of time? Well, I try not
Almost
to waste
all of
my
it.
time.
It's all a waste of time.
That's true. Says the
All
man who read
reading
Mein
is-
Kampf, Dev.
Actually, okay, hold on. I want to show you something real quick, Arch. I think you'll like this. Just give me. Oh shit! They blocked me. Oh no, I can't show you. Hold on. Give me a second.
Dev
I
has been
think you'll
blocked by
actually
someone.
like this. Oh, did they delete it? Oh my fuck. Okay, there was a guy. I don't know if I can find it. There was a guy who basically he put out a hot fucking take today about how books are no longer necessary. We should just destroy them all to save space because everything can be put on the internet now.
That's
And
a
I'm like,
brilliant take.
That's getting pretty close to book burning, and also it allows the people in power to just constantly rewrite every book because it's all online. Like,
I
holy
generally
shit.
don't understand the problem with book burning, considering that we're already doing it. Like, what the fuck do you think is when you cancel someone? Like, what is canceling Alex Jones if not book burning? Like, back in the day, the knowledge was stored on books. So when you burn the book, you burn the knowledge. Now the knowledge is turned on social media, and when you delete someone's channel, you delete the knowledge. Like,
Okay, I got an
book
archive on
burning is considered a moral good, and the book burners are the Trusted Safety Council. Now, if you have someone that suggests burn books, I mean, he's not going to actually manage to do it. But yes, like, it's going to come a time where you will have like the Webster Dictionary, for example, just changing the definitions. So you're going to have a conversation with someone on the internet, and they're going to say you're wrong, and you're going to be like, well, hold on a little bit, like, I'm pretty sure that I'm right. And when you look at the dictionary, you're going to notice, oh no, wait, I'm actually wrong. But then when you take your dictionary from your house, the one with paper and ink, you're going to see, oh no, I was right. Like, for example, when you had Amy Coney Barrett on the Supreme Court, she said sexual preference rather than sexual orientation. So people said that she's bigoted. It's not correct. You shouldn't say that. And Webster Dictionary immediately, like one day later, changed the definition and said that, yeah, like, sexual preferences is offensive. Like, they're changing the
guarantees
internet and the
citizenship.
information and the knowledge to fit whatever political agenda is there. Like, the definition for vaccines was also changed during the pandemic.
Yeah, which is why basically that you shouldn't burn books. You should hold on to them,
Heresy's the
obviously, so you can
question.
see what it was like
Fire is the
before. They could
answer.
just change things, you know. It's like more serious stuff like that, V, down to like the more casual things that don't really mean that much in the grand scheme of it. Like removing Willow from Disney Plus or changing Skullgirls, 10 years later, like those. That stuff all just feels wrong, I think, intuitively to most people because you're pretending the past didn't even happen. It's not like you're saying, okay, we've changed. You're changing it and then saying we've always been this way.
Yep. I don't think book burning is good. I think it's bad.
I gave you
Otherwise.
the archive of the tweet that went viral and then like the reaction to it that blew up.
Yep, I did pull it up. Zonta says, with Trump's policy on Ukraine being Biden isn't sending enough aid, Russia's ability to win has dropped from slim to none. Well, if you'll actually send them aid, that will help them win, but that's not the point. The point is to have them fight for an extended period of time. Real Zenit says, see from where I'm sitting, Dev, both left and right are cringe, but moderate right is stable, whereas even moderate left is not. I mean, at least at this point, the right is better than the left. At least, so far.
I'm not sure that the moderate left is unstable. I've met a lot of decent people on the moderate left who aren't socialists, and they're pretty chill. So I don't believe in that.
They haven't been left wing long enough.
Maybe, but I mean, I was once like far left, 15 years ago, and now I'm not. So there's always redemption. Yes, Arch. Hold on. Yeah, I'm sure you went through a young communist phase. I know Sargon did.
No.
We all have.
No.
Okay, hold on.
No.
Maybe if you haven't. Maybe you haven't. It's a little different, but like.
Why is it different for me?
No,
because you actually lived in a communist country.
I have never looked at other people's stuff and been like mine.
Suppose that I did go through a communist phase. Like if all the apparatus and the government would try to put me towards that direction, what did you think that is more fucking likely that I went through a communist phase?
Well, no, but like I think most people when they're like in their teens or something, they kind of they flirt with the idea of why is it that people at the top of society have so much, and how come
how come it's like a bisexual coming to me, and it's like, well, most people flirt with the idea of butt sex. No. No, most people don't, Dev.
Okay, I mean, it's my experience that most people at least ask the question, why is it that the people in power are in power? And then kind of come to the conclusion, it's because it's actually all underhanded.
Like asking why the people in power are in power, that's a good question, but like flirting with communism, no.
Yeah, I think there's in that like late teens part of life.
But I will tell you why not, Dev. I will tell you why not.
Let me at least say what I'm gonna say. Jeez.
God
damn it.
But like, look, the concept of equality abhorred me even when I was 7. Like the very definition that I would work hard and another person that's a lazy Bob would be considered equal to me disgusts me at a fundamental core level, Dev.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why should we be equal? Well, why would I want to be equal? Like, why would I want to be the same? Like the kid that was licking windows, Dev.
Heresy's the question.
There is a fundament of communism that doesn't sit well with me, even at a very early age.
Okay, so here's how it seems to be the case that most young Canadians go through a leftist phase, because it's happened to me and it happened to many people here, and they all grow out of it, just like I did. Okay, and it's like, okay, we have universal healthcare here in Canada, right? And until Trudeau took over, it was an okay system, all things considered, right? Like my sister would be dead without it because we wouldn't be able to afford her treatment. Lots of people have stories like that where it actually did some real good.
You'd have more money that you wouldn't pay for the taxes, and you could buy health insurance instead.
Not true. Absolutely not. We would have spent way more if we actually had to pay for my sister's care because she was quite sick. So in any case, though, Canadians are pretty proud of the Canadian healthcare service, right? And then Canadians also, because they're very insecure, they compare themselves to Americans a lot, and they say, "Look, we're better than the Americans because we got healthcare figured out, and those stupid, Alabama hicks can't figure it out." And that's the common Canadian view of America, right? And then, if you're in your teen years and maybe your early 20s, you kind of start, especially if you're in, the normal school system, you start asking, why is it that some people have more and some people have less? And, how fair is it actually, right? And now, as soon as you actually get out in the real world and work a real job, you realize, oh, it's actually pretty fair, right? It's actually pretty fair. But as long as you're in school, you don't really get that. So I think most Canadians kind of flirt with the idea and then kind of come back down to reality as soon as they're out on their own. That's a pretty common experience.
How the fuck did I figure it out at 7? Like I never thought it's like, oh well, like why is the teacher having like more power? It's like, why is it fair? It's like
Well, I think it's
I
because
never asked myself that.
I think it's because you grew up in a much harder environment than your average
Heresy's the
Canadian.
question. Fire is the answer.
Canadians are
What does
soft.
that have to do with it?
That
Like,
has a
if I
lot to
grew
do
in an
with it.
environment where someone sucked my cock, it means that I would start believing in communism.
Maybe.
No.
No. Canadians are like they're very
See,
sheltered
no.
from how hard the world can actually be, and it gives them some strange ideas about how things should be.
I actually agree with Dev for the first time in my existence so far. Communism didn't arise in places where people had shit lives. It arose from a spoiled fucking trust fund brat in England. England? Yes, well, he wrote the word in England. In Germany, I mean.
He was living in England at the time, but he was German.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like it actually managed to take place in Russia, and the people in
Heresy's
Russia
the
did have a
question.
very harsh
Fire is
life.
the answer.
Well, it didn't take place in Russia. Who started it?
Yeah, the Leninists had
The
to
French
agitate it, right?
Revolution has like the primordial.
Yeah, but that was France. Like, even France was a nice and soft goddamn country. It was
Like,
overflowing with
I
intellectuals
think it was
and
Germany
wastrels.
trying to subvert
Yeah.
the Soviet. Well, the Germany trying to
And even-
subvert the Russia.
Even the French Revolution was not communist. The French Revolution had no fucking clue what it was.
I think like the French
That's what it-
Revolution
yeah.
was like the
was 3 months.
progenitor of all the other ideologies, because you have like liberté, which is libertarianism, fraternité, which is fascism, and égalité, which is communism.
There are
Yeah.
elements of it, but like the French Revolution had no goddamn clue what it was doing. Like, it had like 5 different revolutions in 5 different years.
Yeah, basically what it is you had like very prosperous, very stable nations that came up with these new ideologies, but because they were prosperous and stable, they never really took off because the way things were going was just fine for most people. So they took off after they exported those ideologies to like failing states.
Yes.
So, like Russia was like fucking falling apart, and that's why there was actually an actual communist revolution there. But that wouldn't happen in like the UK or something.
Moving on. Realty Backhand says, I can't wait for the left to complain about incels embracing the movie like they did with Joker. Currently, there's still a bit of a back and forth on this, where both sides are kind of wrangling over who gets to own Ken, but there's already beginning to be the counter-push against this, like a Guardian article. Barbie's Ken is a bad role model for boys.
No, he isn't.
A parent writes about her concerns about the film and the body image pressure on teenage boys. See, this is a woman going, oh, woman thoughts about men. This is the thing. Body pressure on men, and this is one of the points where the feminists are actually correct, is not the same for men and women. When men see the hot guy in the underwear ad, they go, that doesn't make me want to buy a boxer short. Women go and look at that and go like, yeah, I would look good in those undies. We view this completely differently. The Ken movie, people won't see the fit men and go like, oh god, I need to be a fit boy. They'll look at their behavior. They look at their friendship, the behavior around one another. They look at their idealized life of lying around talking about horses and watching Scarface, long before they go, oh, I wish I had pecs like that.
Well, the thing is, if you're actually reading, first of all, this is a Guardian article, right? And this woman is a mental case. I don't know why she's presented in the Guardian. She is upset that her kid is going to the gym, and she thinks that she needs psychiatric help for her child because he is going to the gym.
Remember, today, being healthy is alt-right.
Yeah,
It's
like
far
the
right. Yeah, I've seen
Guardian
that a few
has
times.
released,
Yeah.
I think, like 5 articles condemning gym culture. You know, like first time it can happen, twice is an accident, but 3 times it's enemy action. Like these people legit want to cripple the NHS at this point. Like they're the enemies of the NHS because they want everyone to be unhealthy. But that's not the issue, right? Like the thing is, we already talked about like video game culture where you have like the female character morbidly obese. They all look as ugly as possible, as if they're Democrats from California. Yeah. But the men, they have pecs, they look
Heresy's
like
the
Greek
question.
statues,
Fire
right?
is the answer.
This woman is like, why can't the men be ugly as well?
Yeah,
Like,
but how-
literally.
There's something else though, because I think you're kind of wrong about your initial framing of this, Arch,
I'm
because
not. Jesus.
Arch is wrong. Arch, not UV. Arch is wrong.
Oh,
No, I'm not.
yeah, okay.
Jesus.
Yeah. So I think it's because when a woman who's, let's say, overweight or unhealthy sees an attractive woman, she feels oppressed. This is very generally speaking, right? But like when a man sees an overweight man sees an attractive man, he's like I gotta go to the gym. I gotta start lifting weights. They have two, in very general terms, they have two very different responses to seeing if they're out of shape and they see someone who's in shape. They have very different responses, which is kind of the inverse of what you described earlier.
It kind of is, but it also depends. Like, men have it easier to see it inspirationally. I do agree with that as well. But other than that, like, people who aren't overweight, we're talking about just normal human beings here. A normal dude isn't going to look at the underwear ad and be like, well, I guess I have to get ripped now or anything so I can be ready for the beach body. Because it's not really in our frame of reference. We have an easier time being happier with ourselves because, well, we are better at understanding our own priorities in these terms. Whereas for women, they tend to obsess with it more.
I have lost.
And it is in large parts because when you're around guy friends, like, there isn't, to use the feminist term, body shaming around guy friends more often than not. Like, it's playful. Like, we call Dev fat, despite he's probably thinner than he's ever been, for example. And
I'm not, but I'm also not as fat as I've been, so there's
it's
that.
playful banter. Like, it's not an issue. But when women go like, "Oh, you're gaining weight," that's a nuclear attack right there.
Generally, yeah.
That is a
Oh,
full-blown
Arch,
war.
There's a $20 super chat that just came in that's for me.
Well, Dev, tell him to take a fucking number. So many. Okay, well, we'll skip the line a little bit since Dev pointed out. Green Gunsman 181 says, "Hey Lord Inquisitor Arch, I'm running a Horus Heresy game and was wondering if you had recommendations for the use of an infiltration unit of Imperial Army in lore or just throw them up against Night Lords because funny. Dev, you lied to me. I'll strangle you."
It's the other $20 one.
Recommend for the use of an infiltration unit in Imperial lore, just throw them up against Night Lords because funny. So use for an infiltration unit? Oh, absolutely. Like just the infiltration doctrine invented during World War I, for example.
Heresy's the question.
Oh God, what's it called?
Fire is the
I think it was
answer.
literally called infiltration doctrine, where the entire point was that a spearhead of elite troopers would move into enemy lines and assault forward positions using close quarters weaponry and specialized tactics, hand grenades, etc., to overrun them and then retreat to the rear as the more generalized infantry took over. That would be a good use for them. As for Dev's one, Judo Cricket says, "Arch, please keep bringing Dev on. Hearing a champagne communist educate someone who lived under real communism is so gratifying."
Yes, so that's the interesting thing, right? Is that I was definitely a champagne socialist when I was like 19 years old, right? And I was one of those guys who was completely willing to be like, "Oh, those dumb Russians, those dumb Eastern Europeans just didn't do it correctly."
Kanye?
Yeah, I was that guy, when I was a kid. Shame for display, as it turns out. I do look down on myself from that era of my life. But there are people. There's lots of people in the chat who say that, like, Canada's a communist country. Canada's not a communist country, right? Like, being a capitalist country with a healthcare service isn't communist. That's not socialist.
Every country now is a mixed economy. We don't have capitalist countries. Like, even the United States calls itself officially a mixed economy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it's because we just kind of realized that, like, it works more than it doesn't.
No,
full
that's not
capitalism is.
why. No, literally
I'm
not
pretty sure it
why.
is. No, I think it is.
No,
Yeah.
no, it's not.
Fire
It's not.
is
It's
the
because
answer.
the people that create the bureaucracy. They have jobs and want to keep the jobs, so they will keep expanding the shit. If you look at how much taxes you pay versus how much actually goes to the healthcare, it's not even half. Like most of it goes to the wages and to the bureaucracy.
Well, sure, but like,
Yes.
I do know, at least in my case, my family would have paid way more than we
Oh my
ever paid in
fucking god! You
taxes.
generally do not know. Like you generally do not know. Like if you were to have an insurance-based system and your family would have paid like for the insurance since day one, you do not know if that wouldn't have covered the cost.
Well, I do know though.
How do you
Because
know? How much does?
hold
Okay,
on.
how much did it cost the entire treatment?
Hold on. Do you want me to pull it up? I can show you. I did a video on.
And then
on
you
the
also need to account
hold on.
for the
Let me
fact
pull it
that
up.
you also need to account for the fact that if the hospital knows that the government is going to forward the bill, they can just raise the prices more and more.
Okay,
That is
so
true.
actually, I think the Canadian system has caps on how much they can charge, because how Canada's works is that the hospitals and the clinics, they're still private practices. They're just paid for by the government. They're not government owned, and the government sets caps on how much they can charge for certain things. But I mean, if you want the data, I can show. Like I did a video on this 2 years ago. I can pull the data up. And like America's insurance-based system is far worse in
But
terms of like
America
dollar
doesn't
per
have the perfect
performance.
system either.
Well, of course not. Of course not. But ours is better for sure. The UK's is better. France's is better. Lots of places are better than the American system. Just straight up. Here, I'll pull the data up if you want to see it. Just give me a second.
God no.
But
God
here's
damn
the
it.
question that
Hold
I
on.
have, then, right? Like if
you-
I slave over a hot computer drawing a Rushikushi Sakibasu, right, and I make my money, why is like a part of my money need to go to heal your family? Like unironically, like a cynical question. I know it's very heartless and cruel,
Okay.
and whatever.
So,
But like,
so a
why
part
is
of
it
your
that
money.
a part of the money that I make
Mhm.
need to go to a person that I don't know? Like in this case, I know you, but even then, like, why should I pay for you?
Well,
And at the
part of
same
your
time,
money.
like pay for the fat
God
lady
damn
that's
it,
the
V. Let me answer it.
doctor at the
Let me
hospital.
fucking answer it. Okay.
All right.
Part of your money in general should go to taxes. Yes. I'm not
Okay.
anti-tax. I'm not like a
Yeah.
libertarian in that sense.
No,
Yeah.
no, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like the roads, I use the roads. Yes, the police,
Mhm.
I may use the police. I agree. The military, that's good,
Mhm.
right? But why would I need to pay for someone else to be healthy?
Generally because society functions better, and these things that you use, they all of their
Like
costs
for
go
thousands
down
of years,
when
society functioned
Let
worse.
me finish it. God
Like,
damn
I
it.
disagree with your point.
Well, let me finish the point before you disagree with it.
Heresy's the question.
Basically, like, okay,
Fire is
so
the answer.
there's something to the idea of the people who do all the work that maintain the society around you that you do enjoy. They do better and more efficient work if they're healthy. So there's like a return of investment calculation you can make where, okay, if some of your taxes goes towards a healthcare service, all of these other things end up actually being more efficient that you do use because the workers aren't calling off sick constantly. It's something like that. That's like the
Okay,
basics.
fine. No, fine. If that's the argument, why do we have a fat epidemic now? Like if your argument is like we need a healthy society, you know, why is it like in the Soviet Union when you had like pictures of, you know, fit men next to fit women, exercising, doing sports and shit? Why is it the opposite? Like you look on a magazine and you see like this massive corporeal manifestation of a woman looking at you.
Because this system really only works if we also have some sense of personal responsibility, such that if you're getting fat, it's not just an individual choice anymore, because now you're also relying on other people's money. And no one wants to tackle that argument, but it is the truth. You know, if you live in a society, yeah, I agree. Let's tackle it, right? If you live in a society that has some sort of safety net, like some sort of healthcare service, right? That means that you getting fat is not simply a crime against yourself; it's a crime against your fellow man.
No, I agree.
And I'm fine
But
for
like,
that. Actually, I'm fine for that. As a fat guy, I'm fine for that.
I want to get fat. Like here's and we saw the medical fascismus during the pandemic, right? Where oh well, but public healthcare, so you get to be locked up and fuck your business. I don't care how you're going to make money. If only we can save one life. And by the way, tomorrow we go to war against Ukraine. But the interesting thing, sorry, for Ukraine, not against. The interesting thing is like this is why I disagree. Like in Germany, they literally said at the beginning of the pandemic that doctors aren't allowed to quit. Like they literally did the Ben Shapiro shit of like doctors are slaves to the state.
They did that in China too. Yeah, I mean, I don't agree with any of this stuff. Like,
But like, all this stuff is built
Heresy's
on the
question.
foundation that you're
Fire is
defending.
the answer.
Like in a perfect society, yeah, I actually do like the American system. Fuck that shit. You know, I genuinely do support the American system more than the public healthcare one. Unironically.
yeah, how come?
Yeah. But like if I go to work, I should be able to use my own cash to buy my own insurance. The problem why like American taxes are as high as the other people that pay healthcare is because America is spending money on its military to defend Europe so that Europeans can afford to have public healthcare. If Europeans would have to build their own army and it would be like just as powerful as the US and just as well equipped, that we would have like taxes skyrocketing to something that was never before seen in human history. Like probably 75% of the shit you would make would be taxed.
Just give me a second.
No.
No, goddammit, I'm fucking proving myself correct.
No.
Arch, you can't do this to me. I have data, goddammit.
You don't.
Yeah,
Sandoom has data.
Wait,
Sandoom said Arch
I'm-
wasn't led to such poor quality go writing entertainment. What were the steps that led us to the barren wasteland of entertainment?
Okay, I've got it. I literally screen cap my own fucking video. Look at this, all right? So, this is how much the U.S. spends on healthcare versus every other country, right?
Shit.
And the U.S. spends way more per whatever you want to call it, production, whatever, like way more per capita, whatever, on healthcare. And the main reason is specifically because of the fucked up way America does insurance. Look at that giant amount of private spending that's in there. All right, public spending still relatively the same, and
Yeah, but how
out-of-pocket
much of that
spending's
is
relatively
dedicated to
expensive.
research, Dev? Like when a new pill is being discovered, like for example the vaccines, Dev, the vaccines. Like, is that from private spending?
This is just healthcare, not research. And the reason
Like,
the reason that
The
this happens
research
is
for healthcare is not.
that's not included. That wasn't included in the study. No, it was just healthcare.
Okay.
It wasn't research for new technology. No, the reason that it's set up like this is because American insurance companies, they basically bought the government at one point, and they instituted a bunch of really fucked up laws that allowed them to pay for a really bloated middle management bureaucracy, and then take it out of the final payer of the healthcare. And other countries have basically done away with that, and America hasn't yet. Which is why, even though Americans spend the same amount on public and out of pocket, they spend way more on private. And this is the core problem with American healthcare right here. Is this graph.
Okay, but I would still like the American system.
I prefer the Norwegian one. It's right there. It's better than Canada's.
Yep.
What is the next point of the day, Arch?
We're not even through the super chats yet.
I was well, I mean,
what has led
we're all
to such
having
poor
fun here,
quality
right?
writing? Diversity and inclusivity. Simple as. Diversity hires. People who can't write getting hired. It is literally as simple as that. Because back in the day, to get hired as a writer for anything, you had to be fucking good. You had to blow those bitches away. Now, if you're the correct skin color and preferably the correct gender, you'll skate on in regardless of writing credentials. Nocta Angeles says the ISB was basically the Soviet GRU combined with KGB, as they did the dual foreign and domestic security hat, entirely military. I like the ISB. We need more from the Imperium's perspective. Anatolop says, what do you guys think about what they're doing in El Salvador to the cartel? Reload and keep firing.
I don't know the story there. What's
Anyone
going on?
disagrees? The Salvadorans are taking care of their crime problem in a very Slavic fashion.
Based.
Yes.
Honestly, it's the difference in culture. Like in Salvador, it's happening, and people are like, "Yeah, based, oh, sure." And the reason for this is that I believe in 2018, 1% of their population was murdered because of the drug trafficking. Like not because of the drugs, but like gangster shooting and stabbing and that type of thing. So like the population is very against the crime.
Yes.
Meanwhile, there was a video in the United States with a guy that robbed a Uber driver on a highway, And then the guy trying to escape jumped from the highway and probably broke his legs as he fell down. Like, out of his own volition. Like, no one pushed him, nothing. And the people in the comment section are like, oh my God, I hope he's okay. Oh, but he's a human being. How can you say that? Like, the guy literally tried to murder a Uber driver. And you now show compassion. You're not asking, is the Uber driver okay? No, like, you don't even fucking care. Like, you're showing compassion for the criminal. And I'm sorry, but like when you consider the criminal a victim, then society becomes a victim. This is why all the stores in LA have locks on them. This is why like there's a big padlock on refrigerators and stuff. It's the mentality. And like the crime can be fixed, but you need the Salvador mentality.
The thing is too, the El Salvador thing, it is a massive crackdown. Like thousands are being locked up. They are holding mass trials. They are absolutely violating these people's civil rights. Absolutely, no doubt about it. They are not giving them truly fair and open hearings. That's entirely true as well. But when your country is de facto ran by criminal gangs that shoot people with impunity on the streets, sometimes due process will simply not suffice. Like, it's one of those things where...
what I'm just trying to say is that if the problem would have been dealt before, when it wasn't at this level, then you wouldn't need to get to this level.
Yes. It has gone out of hand. Like, this problem can no longer be solved by our idealized Western legal system, because it is the best system we've come up with. It is a far safer, far more secure, and far more fair system. But again, when the gangsters have private armies, you're gonna have to go medieval on them. Simple as.
Look at Mexico, right? Like Mexico, the police had the son of like some couple, and they threatened the government, and they released the son of the couple.
Uh-huh.
Like, how do you deal with that? Like, what is the solution for that?
And again, I also want to point out, like, these aren't even gangs, like, even in the American context, right? Whereas, like, you have gangbangers on the street, you know, slinging dime bags or something. These fuckers are an army. Like, these guys have automatic weapons, squad support weapons, goddamn grenade launchers.
Squad support weapons?
These fuckers are heavy duty. Like, this is why the Salvadoran police had to literally call in the army to deal with it. It is why when you see like their police officers wearing masks when they're doing these arrests, is because if they don't, they'll get recognized and their family will be wiped out. Like, this is a war, and when you are fighting a war, well, due process is sadly not a convenience you can afford.
And not to mention, it's like, imagine doing the normal way. Like, how do you give speedy and just trials to thousands of people?
Yeah. It's like, okay, case number 236. This man was found skinning an old woman alive. Okay. Let's spend 6 months on this. No. Stamp. Off you go. I am entirely pro, and I hope it works out for El Salvador. That's my opinion on that.
Yep.
Can you imagine if you're like being edgy and you just made a gang tattoo, but you're not part of any gang, and you have to be some
bad fucking luck. You should have thought about that. And hey, you know, I have sympathy too. I'm sure that there are tons of genuinely innocent people that will become victims of this. But what else is the option? Like, you can either become a victim of this, which sucks, or you can die in a gang shootout. Like, I don't think there is a solution to a problem like this that isn't going to be seriously shit for somebody. The Real Wholesaler says, I watched your review, Dev. It was upsetting.
Yeah, that was from a while ago. We talked about it. He thought that I was going pro-feminist because I made fun of Ben Shapiro burning the Barbies.
I think he is going
I was like, no.
Comsy Cat says, is Jagged Alliance 3 on anyone's radar? While mechanically as complex than JI2, it's still a damn fine game. Game of the year so far, in my opinion. We will be playing it on this channel eventually. Like, we have plans. They even have a thumbnail and everything. So, eventually. Dean Domino 25. Ken is not a suffragette. He didn't try to bomb any of the political Barbies, so shame Barbies to die in war for him. That's true as well. Marksman of 117B says, Back to the Future 4 plans killed by co-creator. Oh, goody. Lucian sends a rainbow sticker. Thank you. Matt Diff says, Sargon is currently under a combination of metaphysics as another way to hold and transmit knowledge, and trying to frame stuff in a way that is harder to attack. Yes, that is a decent way of putting it. Sargon is currently trying to find out how to conservative in the modern world and to present a positive argument for it.
But like, if the average guy doesn't understand what the fuck you're talking about, you're just going to preach to the same audience. Like progressives don't do it like that. Like the progressive will only go, what privilege? And then even like, so Peggy McIntosh, which made the white privilege, like she has like a lot of fancy words in framing it. But when it goes down to Tumblr, the Tumblr person goes, white man bad, white privilege, blah, 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 blah. Like it's simplified for the folk to use.
Yeah, but even then, like, all of feminism, unless that we see today, that is the big issue, came from academia. They use a lot of terms. In fact, their entire rise to power was predicated on the invention of terms that people had never heard of before. And there is tremendous power in making a word and then go like, oh, this has bad connotations. Yeah, and then people are like, oh, I don't know.
The words that they made resonate with random people, right? Like, for example, rape culture, right? Like, it's not like the feminine lunar era.
I think that resonates like just too, though. Like, it does depend, but again, lunar is a very easy thing to tell people.
Make a poll in the chat, Arch. Make a poll. I guarantee to you it's your chat.
Here's the thing.
Like I'm not bringing mine. It's yours. I guarantee to you, the lunar era does not resonate, and it doesn't because there would be memes of it if it did.
Sargon is using lunar specifically in the Evolan way, which doesn't quite track with normies.
Yes, it's like look, rape culture are two words that you use in day-to-day life. You use culture, and when you go to the news, old lady got raped by blah blah blah, right? Like these are words that people know what it is. No one uses lunar.
Well, ever. But you are making an argument out of knowledge that exists. That's the thing.
Yes.
People know what rape means. They know what that means. But they don't know what rape culture means. That had to be explained. There were countless articles explaining
that's the problem.
This.
Like the academic version of rape culture is very different than the one used on Twitter. Like the one used on Twitter is like they literally believe that 1 out of 5 women in America get raped. Like they genuinely believe, unironically, that America is worse than the Congo.
Who told them that?
The academics.
Exactly.
But they used words that people used in a normal conversation.
No, people didn't use that in normal conversation. Like it was a ridiculous data point. Like everyone knew.
What I'm trying to say is that rape and culture are two words that are in the lexicon that people usually use.
I don't.
Lunar is something.
Culture.
When is the last time you said lunar, Arch? Unironically.
Well, what was the last time somebody said rape culture before it became a political tool? Like nobody was referring to that. Well, patriarchy is a term entirely invented by
not
these people.
Not strawman this. Like the word rape and culture separately, not together, are two common words. Lunar and era, even put together or separately, are words that people do not use in a normal basis.
Yeah, but again, most people you are making an argument out of the temporal position we are in.
Well, hold on.
Again, temporal as well. Like, who the fuck is this temporal?
Most normies, when they hear lunar, they think like moon cycles. They don't think something about politics or society.
But even then, like most normies don't use the word lunar.
And when most normies hear rape culture, they get like part of it. Because we already use rape and
like
culture in that way.
You immediately know what it's about. It's like a culture that promotes rape. That's what it means.
Yes, but again, this is simply referring to words as commonly understood at the time. Like, basically, your argument against the lunar couldn't function is that people can't learn new words, or that the meaning of terms and words don't evolve, which they obviously do.
So yeah, people in the chat are saying that like lunar era sounds like some new age hippie shit. To be fair, Evola has a lot of crossover with the new age hippies. All this stuff about meditation and it's really funny because like this, despite what he actually is in terms of his philosophy, you can definitely go to like a new age hippie bookstore and see like Meditations on the Peaks or something by Julius Evola. It's really funny.
See, chat also makes an excellent point. Based, cringe, leftist, woke. None of these terms mean anything, but we have attributed meaning to them and they have become common usage. I'm very disappointed by you, chat, though not understanding what lunar era refers to. I'll have to hit you at some point.
No one fucking understands what lunar. Do you want me to wake up my wife and ask her if she understands what lunar era means?
Yes,
Go try
do
it,
it
yeah.
now.
I bet you will
No,
understand
do
what
it
rape
now.
culture
V,
is.
you offered. Now I'm gonna see you do this. Come on.
I can ask
Shake her
Naomi
away.
if you want.
That she will understand what rape culture is.
Shake
I can
her
ask
away.
my
No, no.
girlfriend if you want to.
No, this is more
You know what?
inconvenient for
Go
V.
do that.
Go
Go ask her, like, what does lunar
shake your wife awake, and then go, what does lunar era mean? And when she goes like, huh? What does rape culture mean?
Okay, hold on. I'll go get her. Give me a second.
God damn it. I am very disappointed by you, chat. You have let me down today, chat.
Basically, like using flowery words is the problem, right? Like words that normally don't get spoken in day to day, like based gets spoken, right? Like it's something that already exists. Cringe is something that already exists and it's spoken often.
Citizenship.
Woke, okay, fine. Woke doesn't, even though like it kind of like awoken, like it kind of goes like that. But you will never have like
I'm back.
era become a thing.
I have. Hold on a second. I'm back. Okay, I'm back. Naomi, do you know?
What have I been roped into?
Naomi, do you know what lunar era refers to?
No.
Do you have any guesses?
No.
Go on, just any guess at all.
It's either historical or anime related.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
What
all.
did
Thank
she
you.
say?
Oh, you didn't hear her? I thought you could hear her.
Yep, we could hear.
No.
Oh, I could hear at least.
Okay. Yeah.
But what did she say? Because I did.
She said it was either something related to history or anime.
Every last single one of you fuckers disappoint me. All of you. Every last one of you.
I understand the simple oriented citizen.
She's a bit mad
like
about it.
The humble viewer is something that I can connect and understand.
We're going to be engaging in a re-education program on this channel very, very soon. You lowbrow. What was that, Oh, God. What was the, French person and person who lit his nipples on fire thing? Low IQ interventions. There we go. My chat needs to be educated. Don't worry, chat. I think we have a perfect topic for tomorrow then. Oh god, no, even more super chats are coming. Okay, if we're ever going to advance with the storyline. Alright, we'll put a pin in the super chats there, and we'll move on to the Hunter Biden thing, because otherwise we'll never get anywhere, it seems. I'm not complaining.
Like we can save some of the topics for next week.
But first, another slight deviation, as I have another funny for you here. This one will. Okay, this chat. This is lunar era right here. Japanese man transforms into human dog by spending $20,000. Takes first walk in public. This is lunar era.
Yeah.
Okay, why the fuck is that lunar era? Like if I see a man
a degenerating
dog,
society.
why would I think like the era of the moon?
Because this is degeneration. This is a human man going, no, you know what? I want to spend $20,000 on becoming a dog.
No, unironically, I genuinely don't get it. Like, is this what lunar era means? Like degeneration?
Yes.
Yes.
Then why not just use degeneracy instead?
Degeneracy works too. That's an adequate descriptor for this.
Degeneracy works very well. Like it's a term that's catchy. The thing. People use it in day to day. Why would you not use that?
Refers to a much broader concept again, as it's in fact a pretty wide-ranging topic.
It's like the idea that like civilizations are collapsing slowly and they trend downwards towards.
Oh
the
my
Earth
fucking god! Is this like the collapse
and
of the Roman Empire extended edition? Like it's the DLC of the collapse of the empire.
So Evola theorized that like societies go through various stages of decay, and one of the stages was the lunar era. And he talked about Rome and India and China. He went through all of them.
Well, what comes after the lunar era?
Well, the final stage is the Kali Yuga. And the Kali Yuga is like the dark age of unleashed material appetites, where all material conditions have been fulfilled.
We have a person in the chat called Bozoto. I guarantee to you, Bozoto is never going to use the Kali Yuga or whatever the fuck that is. Like, these terms are only academic terms, only used in academic circles. They will never be spread by the normies.
I have seen someone use Kali Yuga in the chat at least once today.
Yeah,
to be
see?
fair.
Okay,
But
but
they're probably like
use
watching Academic Agent or something because he talks
yeah,
about
but
this all the time.
Bozoto isn't going to. This is the problem. Like, Sargon of Akkad is being influenced. His channel is being subverted by other content creators, clearly. Other content creators who have a problem with women that have abs. I genuinely...
That is true. I condemn
We're going
that.
back.
But still, chat, just get it into your minds. This is a man who spent $20,000 to look like a fucking border collie. This,
I will say,
is your future, chat.
If you want the deep lore on this guy, Stardust did like a super in-depth series on this guy. He's fucked. The guy inside this dog suit, like he's actually fucked.
I imagine
but hold
so.
on a little bit, Arch, clown era. That is something catchy. That is something you're going to see the normies use.
V.
Yeah, Clown World is kind
Go
of the same
wake your
thing,
wife. Meanwhile, Hunter Biden.
Okay. Yeah, so you mean considering that I only have an hour left? No, I have an hour left. So like we could do some of these topics next week. I don't mind, Arch.
Dev,
I'll be back.
your fat slowness will not drag me down.
Yeah, but I know V said the same thing earlier. Like, it's okay. We'll be here.
No, you won't. I'll be
Sure I
surprised if
will.
you show
Why
up for
not?
Friday's game.
I'll be there Friday too. I didn't know that was set in stone yet. I think I was just dicking around.
Yeah, I didn't know
I'll
it
be
was
there on
set in
Friday
stone
if you
either
want.
until Sargon sent me a message like, hey,
So
we are operating on
Sargon just-
Sargaruni time now.
So Sargon, it's like we it's like, okay, well, should we do a game night? Yeah,
Service
maybe. I'll see if I have time
guaranteed
for it.
citizenship.
And then like
On
hey, the game
Friday, he
night
was
started.
like,
What?
hey, yeah, well, like, we're starting. Like,
It's
okay.
like, oh, are we?
if
All right,
you
no,
say so.
I'll be there next Friday. I'll be there next Friday. That's fine.
So I'm sure you guys have heard about this, but little old Hunter went to court to plead guilty to 2 counts of tax evasion out of I think a total of 5. And the judge looked through the deal and was like, hold on. He seems to be getting immunity for collaborating with foreign powers and spying and shit. Does he need this? Am I reading this correctly? Does this deal grant him immunity? And the prosecution said no, and then the defending attorney of Hunter Biden stood up and said no deal. That's the story that's going around.
Yeah, like literally, he
Yep,
was going
saw
to get
that.
a slap on the wrist for like tax evasion or something, and immunity for treason. It's like, well,
Yes. It's like, okay, why do you need this?
So the way plea deals work is generally like, I'm sure you all know this, but just for the chat's sake, the way plea deals work is the prosecution comes up with a bunch of charges they think will stick. The defense looks at them and says, okay, well, we'll give you some of these, and in exchange, you will give us a deal that these other ones you're going to drop the case. There'll be no case. You don't
that's
bring it
not
up
how it
again.
works.
It's done.
No.
I'm talking very vaguely. All
No,
right?
but you expressed this wrong. The way it works is that the prosecutor gives some charges that he hopes will stick. Because you don't know, like when you go to court, you may have like a jury that, you know, just doesn't want to find guilty. So you have either a hung jury or it's not unanimous, right? So like there's no guarantee that any charge will stick. But the prosecutor can go like, look, you can either get like 25 years if this goes to court, or you can get a plea deal and you get only 5. That's the way it works, right? So like if you're in the American system, you are being pressured to sign the plea deal so that it never goes to court.
I mean, well, there's also definitely cases where like they drop more serious charges so that you plead guilty
Yeah,
to
because
the minor
like
ones.
again,
yeah.
like the whole idea is to not go to court, right? So like the prosecutor will go, we drop these charges because like if they go to court, you may actually be able to prove your innocence in them. Like we don't have enough evidence to support them, or you know, like they may not convince a jury. That's why they usually drop them. It's not out of the kindness of their heart.
Here, just give me a second here. I'm trying to find something.
But yes, that is in essence what it's supposed to do. The weird thing here was, of course, that he seemed to be getting a lot of things that seemed utterly irrelevant to the charges against him worked into this deal.
Yeah,
and again,
it's kind of like it's
they
kind of
were,
like
yeah.
saying, you're going to get punished for tax evasion, but you get immunity for the murder you committed.
Yes, it's like, oh, hold on, what murder? So you gotta start asking questions. And seeing as they immediately then also dropped out, this was almost certainly some dirty dealings. Like, I'm not entirely sure how else you could possibly explain this other than some naughtiness was going on in the background of this.
Now, to the judge's credit, the judge eventually slapped this down and said, "This is ridiculous."
Service guarantees citizenship.
Yeah, Mary Ellen Noika. Hold on, let me try. I'm trying to find. Because I read about this a couple days ago. I'm going to pull it up so I can show it to you.
There was also the fact that now Hunter Biden is being treated as normally by the justice apparatus, like he's been given what was demand for community service and needs to not get drunk and stuff like that. Stuff they put on normal people that he hadn't been up until this point, which is interesting as well. It seems as if this was intended to be a sweetheart deal to clear him of anything that could have popped up in the future, and then they got so unlucky, or callous, as to not rig the judge properly.
Heresy's the question. Fire is the answer.
Okay, I've got it. Here, I'll put it in the link channel. This is basically a description of what's going on here. Special Assistant U.S. Attorney Leo Wise and Hunter's lawyer Christopher Clark both signed a probation-only agreement to allow the 53-year-old first son to plead guilty to 2 tax misdemeanors and enter into a diversion program for a felony charge of possessing a firearm while addicted to crack cocaine. Jesus. The memo stated that the prosecutors would also not seek to charge Hunter Biden for any federal crimes attached to his case, which included millions of dollars in missed tax payments between 2016 and 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the deal. And yeah, and then as you go a bit further, it says, in federal court, Wise diverged from the plan and told the U.S. District Judge Mary Ellen Noreika that the unprecedented agreement did not preclude prosecutors from the ongoing investigation into the son's alleged crimes, prompting gasps from those in the courtroom. When Noreika asked whether those crimes could include violations of the Foreign Agents Registration Act, Wise responded yes, and then the defense attorney said, as far as I'm concerned, the plea agreement is null and void. So basically, Hunter Biden's attorneys were pushing for some kind of immunity under the Foreign Agents Registration Act. The prosecution didn't offer it to them, and they said, well, then fuck the plea agreement. And they cast it down.
Uh-huh.
Which, I mean, it sounds slimy to be fair, but to be fair, that is kind of what defense attorneys, that's what their job is, right? They're trying to get their client the best possible deal, and the prosecution's trying to get them on the hook for something, and the judge is there to referee. Right?
There's kind of also another thing here, and that is that the prosecution was probably not telling the complete truth there, because the defense has access to the prosecution's document. This deal wasn't being, run through there and there. It would already have to have been accepted by Hunter and his attorney first. So this must have come as a bit of a surprise to them as well, which is why the reaction is so interesting. When they're pointing out specifically, would this mean immunity to these charges? That was what raised the red flag, as he specifically slapped the deal down after being made clear that it doesn't mention FARA violations. So this seemed to be something they had already talked over, or at the very least discussed.
Yeah. A bit further down in the article from where you are, Arch, I think. Oh, maybe not. Maybe a bit further up, actually. Yeah, just above from where you are. It says... Noreika, the judge, repeatedly expressed skepticism about the scope of the agreement, accusing both sides of wanting her to rubber stamp an improperly broad deal, and asking Wise, who is the prosecution at one point, have you ever seen a diversion agreement that is so broad that it encompasses crimes in another case? And then he had to admit no, that he didn't. So that sounds a bit weird, you know.
Mhm. Now, again, all the credit to the judge for actually picking up on this and not simply just being the rubber stamp. But it did seem as if this was a done deal, and they just got unlucky and they hit a judge with a little bit of backbone.
Mm-hmm.
The Hunter Biden crime family. Like to me, honestly, this is see, guilty until proven innocent, etc. But man, you cannot tell me this fucker hasn't done some shady shit at this point. Like it is too obvious. Like it is too obvious. It would be closer to fiction at this point if it turned out that he hadn't done it. If this was some kind of enormous frame job to just make him look awful on every level.
So something else related to this happened. I just put the link in the links
Service
channel, Arch.
guarantees citizenship.
Because right after this happened, apparently somebody was accused of impersonation in this case. Did you hear about this?
Yes,
This
I
just came
actually,
out.
I
Yeah.
had it brought up right next to me here as well.
I have lost.
This thing that seems to have happened, or at least that's the claim at the moment, is that one of Biden's lawyers had called the federal court clerk and pretended to be a representative of the House of Representatives. So
Isn't that illegal?
Yeah, that's very illegal. Like,
stupid.
you're saying that you're a representative of the federal government when not. It's like going into somebody's house and going like, "Calm down, ma'am. I'm a police officer."
Yeah, it's also like, well, I don't know, like America's probably treats stolen cattle worse, but like I know, like if you're dressing as a soldier when you're not a soldier, it's also bad.
Yeah, it's a crime. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, Biden's legal team insisted it's all misunderstanding.
Yeah, I was
Of
like,
course.
okay, sure.
Yeah. The judge, again, Mary Ellen Norica, earlier in the week threatened sanctions, accusing an employee at a law firm representing Biden, this is Hunter Biden, of apparently misrepresenting their identity to the clerk's office during a phone call. Yeah. It's like, oh, no, it's all a mistake.
Yeah.
All right.
All of this just stinks, and now again, this is the beauty of the legal system in America, isn't it? Like, you can bury so much shit if you simply have the lack of scruples to do so. Like, this is why attorneys should simply just be outlawed, straight up, or burned occasionally, we don't know. But being an
To be
attorney...
fair, though, Arch, it's not being buried because it's coming out, right? Like this judge is saying no and stopping this, which is exactly what she should do. So it's not like it's being buried.
Well, no, this is coming out. But even then, this was intended to be a rubber stamp. Like, he got his deal, and this was intended to be a formality. But either due to a failing in their own planning, or simply not having the authority to pick the judge correctly, or just a fuck-up on their part, somebody noticed. Because again, this was intended to be a very basic hearing. The two parties had already come to an agreement, and the thing is, the judge didn't have the power to refuse this. The judge can't say, no, you can't make a deal. But she was asking questions about this. She was like, this is very unusual. Out of curiosity. She wasn't even denying to rubber stamp it, but after clarifying a point, the attorney then went, no, the deal is void if it doesn't give us immunity on this point.
Probably
Hold
like Biden went like, well, I will take a slap on the wrist if I manage to get immunity
Yeah.
for this other things, but well, if I'm not going to get immunity, then I don't want the
have
slap on the
lost.
wrist either.
Shit.
Yes. Like, honestly, this was probably a tactical mistake from the Biden's defense team, as what he should have done is just gone like, okay, shut up. We'll not ratify the agreement right now, Your Honor. Take the dude out back and go like, this isn't what we talked about. And bring him back in, write it in officially, and then rubber stamp it.
So wait a second. So Artemis just gave $5 to ask me. The best Dev can say is, well, that's a little weird. Not why are the prosecutors trying to give Hunter Biden immunity? I mean, it seems like they weren't, because Wise came out and said that the agreement did not preclude prosecutors from the ongoing investigation into the first son's alleged crimes. So the prosecutors didn't even try to give Hunter Biden immunity. That's why the deal fell through.
Well, no. That's the thing. They did agree to not prosecute past crimes. That was the verbiage, that they wouldn't prosecute any past federal crimes. Full sweeping blanket. And then the judge specifically asked for the AFTRA thing. And this is probably where the prosecutor was found himself in a little bit of a bind. Because the intention was to write it in such a vague way as to either, the charitable interpretation, trip up Biden's legal team in the future and go like, oh yeah, we promised this, but, no, not this thing, we weren't specific. And the less charitable one is simply saying that they wrote in everything as a sweeping generalization so that they could cover for anything that might appear. Because again, the judge didn't refuse this, she was simply asking questions, and then the Hunter Biden defense team withdrew.
I'm trying to find the exact wording. Weiss diverged from the plan and told U.S. District Judge Mary Ellen Norica that the unprecedented agreement did not preclude prosecutors from the ongoing investigation into the first son's alleged crimes, prompting gasps from the courtroom. When Norica asked whether those crimes could include violations of the Foreign Agents Registration Act, Weiss responded, yes.
Yes. Whereas in the previous article, the memo stated that prosecutors would also not seek to charge Hunter Biden for any federal crimes attached to his case, which include millions of dollars in missed taxes payments between 2016 and 2019. The deal only left open the possibility of prosecution for any future conduct. Basically, the way that is written, legalistically speaking, is like everything you've done, under the carpet.
I think that's what the Hunter's attorneys obviously wanted, but I don't think that's what the prosecution gave them. That's why the whole thing fell apart.
I think that is what they gave them, but I think again it was written in such a way as to be ambiguous enough
Fire is the answer.
for both parties to read into it what they wanted, which could have been a trap for future prosecutions, maybe, or it could simply have been good old-fashioned corruption.
Right.
Even then, I do also love it.
Dev's auditioning to be one of Hunter's attorneys. I'm trying to figure this out, man. Come on.
Yes, he is trying to figure out how to be hired. It's true. Give him some break here.
Well, no, it just sounds like the way that I'm reading the article. I could be wrong, but it sounds like the two teams, like it was vague enough that neither of them quite knew exactly what it meant, but they were both hoping for the best possible interpretation for their side. And then the entire thing fell apart as soon as the judge wanted to put a finer point on it.
I imagine the two parties, because I don't think it was actually left vague when the two parties discussed this together. Like, I don't believe for a second that these high-paid public, private and public attorneys, etc., discussed this without going into the details. But they knew that if they write this into the plea deal, it looks fucking terrible. Like V said, if you write into the plea deal, you'll get 2 counts of tax evasion and we won't prosecute your murder. People are going to go, hold on. What?
Yeah. So rather than say,
but why do they care about optics is the real question.
Well, because this would be public. And if...
And like, when do the Democrats give a fuck about optics?
Because it would look that bad. Like, because the Republicans are banging this drum for years now, like Daddy's dealings in Ukraine, and here there's an official plea deal for his son.
And the police, and like apparently they didn't even record the phone call and shit.
Oh, absolutely.
With the sous chef that's gone underwater, like...
Yeah, no, sure, I agree.
Do they really care at this point?
There are bad optics even for the Democrats. And Hunter... getting a plea deal specifically protecting him from dealing with foreign agents is about the worst potential optics you could possibly have right now.
Yeah. So, I mean, if the prosecution wrote it vague enough such that they actually intended to give him that deal, that's pretty bad, and it's good that the judge caught it. However, I'm not sure that's the case. I think they wrote it vague enough so that they could give themselves an in later on down the road. Because I know there's like a narrative that because the attorney, the prosecution works for for Biden's government because is it Merrick Garland who's the current Attorney General? Like he's a Biden appointee, so it all flows from the president. I actually don't believe that. I don't believe that for a second. And the main reason I don't believe that is because Trump's Attorney General had no problem flipping on Trump when Trump was actually doing something that was wrong.
Like you're acting
I
as
don't
if these
think it just
people
flows like
are
that.
influenced about the grander culture and the overwhelming apparatus, right? Like you're acting like if Trump anoints someone, then he's going to be loyal to him like an NPC, like Albedo is to Einstein Gold. You know, it doesn't work that way. You can
No,
put
I
a
agree. I
person
agree.
in a position, and they can be tempted, bribed, influenced by other people. Like that's how real life works. It happens a lot of time in institutions. Like you will name a director or someone, and then they can turn on you. Like basically, it's not even about Biden. It's about like the American culture or the deep state, as people like to call it. And it can corrupt other individuals.
I have lost.
All right.
I mean, maybe so, but I don't think that like Merrick Garland is sitting in a back room smoking a cigarette and he's saying like, okay, I want you guys to make sure that my boss's son gets off
I have lost.
and
No, it's
doesn't
not like
get.
that.
I
He
don't think
gets
that's
a
happening. I
phone
don't think it's
call.
happening.
No, I'll tell you how it works in Eastern Europe. Like he will get a phone call, and he will say like, "Yeah, make sure that this doesn't happen," and that's it. Like there's no,
Service
additional
guaranteed
information
citizenship.
or anything like that. Like for
See,
example, okay.
yeah, no,
During
I
the
like that
pandemic,
too.
right? You had certain doctors which didn't agree with the regulations and didn't agree with the lockdowns and shit, but they wouldn't speak out because they knew that if they speak out, they lose their job.
I have lost. Shit. I mean,
It's
yeah.
a little like the same. That's how corruption works.
No, I get it. I get it. I don't think that that's what's happening here.
Service
It could be,
guaranteed
but I don't think it is.
citizenship.
All right. The problem
Mhm.
with this position is that it's ultimately unfalsifiable, right? Like there's no evidence that one could actually like show up and present and be like, okay, well, this is actually all just doctored because they are corrupt. And it's like, well, no, like you can always claim that someone's connections are what's motivating them rather than actually pursuing something that's true. You can always make that claim.
Yeah, but
With
like
anyone.
there is this thing called common sense, Like I get what you're saying and all that,
Yeah.
but like when you see a case
Service
that the
guaranteed
person is
citizenship.
treated very differently than any other criminal would be treated, and on top of that, he's the president's son. Then yeah, I think it's safe to assume that a little bit of corruption can happen. Like just a little bit,
At
not a
this
lot, like
point,
just a tiny bit of corruption.
they have gotten so good at this to the point where corruption is, like V says, it's not a shadowy conspiracy. It's not a letter at midnight or anything. It's just one dude's boss going like, "Bring, hey, so Hunter Biden thing. Yeah, make that go away. Goodbye."
Literally.
There you go.
Like literally how it works in the Eastern Europe. I don't see why it wouldn't work in America. Like it's still human beings doing it. It's not
Well,
like
it's ultimately not working. 'Cause that's what's happening right now.
Well, no,
Like,
it
it's
was
being stopped.
working. It literally was working. Again,
I
the
have
judge had
lost.
no power to refuse this. She simply asked a question which removed the ambiguity of the deal that the two parties had come up with. And the reason why they'd come up with that ambiguity was specifically to protect one another, probably. Like, what happened here was simply that somebody opened their mouth when they weren't supposed to. Like, this was a freak accident more so than anything, I guarantee it.
Okay, if that's the case, then what we should see in the coming weeks is they come back with a new deal where basically it's a bit more ironclad and they can actually push through what they want to push through.
Or
we'll see
they'll
that
come
happen.
back in a few months with a new lawyer, or a new judge, and it'll simply never be talked about.
Well, I guess we have to wait and see.
Because the thing is,
But no,
again, I absolutely agree with V here. On this level of corruption, there exists no such thing as evidence. It really doesn't. It is, you would need to like tap their phones, and even then, you'd only be getting snippets of a conversation because it's so day to day at that point. So I think demanding perfect evidence here is, frankly, not necessary. Like, the mere appearance of malfeasance in these cases should suffice to indicate it. And if there's then a history of repeated naughty bits and questionable things, then that should be viewed as what it is, a very obvious pattern.
Yeah, see, so for example, Coconut Tackle says, if it's a different judge, you will have to admit you're wrong, Dev. Yes, that's one of the times in which I would admit that I'm wrong on this. Is like if they come back with like a slightly modified deal, they're like, okay, we're not going to fuck it up this time. They get a different judge and it goes through, then yes, there probably is some corruption happening. But this on its own is not enough to convince me. And yeah, the entire chat is currently in revolt about my take on this. But here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. It's like when you have the corruption conversation, it is ultimately an unfalsifiable thing because you can just say, oh, all the evidence that goes against the way I view this, well, that was all just corrupt evidence, right? You can make claims like that. And you know what? The left did that in 2016 with Trump. Everything that I've seen in the chat today, I remember leftoids saying the same thing in the wake of Trump winning. It was all corrupt. Everything was just bullshit. And Trump, the Russians influenced it all, right? Like, it's a position that it feels really good to hold, but you can't actually prove it. So I didn't buy it then, and I don't buy it now. I need more.
Well, actually, like the Russians managing to influence the elections is ridiculous as fuck. Because like you have a country like Russia, which seems to be all powerful, like they are managing to hack election half the world away, and yet for some reason they're always hacking it for the right wingers, right? Like the story itself didn't make sense. But meanwhile,
Here's
this
the
story
question.
that there is
Fire is the
corruption to
answer.
the point where, like, yeah, you notice that this guy is treated differently than other criminals, and he's the president's son, and like you have this type of deal being offered. Yeah, it's safe to assume that there is corruption.
I mean, there's definitely a possibility, but I'm not fully convinced yet.
Oh, okay.
Let's let's get to the super chats yelling at Dev too, at least before we wander off the topic.
Is it okay if I live in 10 minutes?
Artemis Fowl says Dev had to read up on this because I was handing him fat L's on Twitter.
Artemis thinks he was handing me fat L's on Twitter.
Artemis thinks. Artemis, you're gonna have to donate more to Proven Wrong.
Harrison's the question. Fire is
So
the
John says
answer.
one of Hunter's defense called in, pretending to be a GOP lawyer and asking for amicus materials to be removed from the docket. For amicus. Is this a word I don't understand?
Someone in the chat.
I don't know.
Someone
no.
not a party to or case who submits a brief and or present oral argument in that case. So third-party testimony. Or third-party evidence. That would be weird, yes. That would be very weird.
Here, chat, I want you to answer this, and preferably answer it in super chat form, okay? If it were during Trump's presidency, and one
Harrison's
of
the
Trump's
question.
kids had
Fire
a
is
similar
the
lawsuit
answer.
against him, all
That
right?
would be equally
Do you-
corrupt.
Do you think left-wing people would be saying all the same things that you're saying right now? Regardless of whether or not it was actually like a real case or a real amount of corruption, they would all be assuming that it is simply based on appearance, just like you are, all right? So I wouldn't believe it then, and I don't believe it now.
Artemis Fowl says, the best Dev can say is, well, that's a little weird. Not, why are the prosecutors trying to give Hunter Biden immunity? Yes,
Yeah, we answered that one earlier, yeah.
Mr. Luckless says, Hayden Biden gives green light to let people know about possible aliens, and not that he's the first mob boss president. Yeah, there's also the
Harrison's the
aliens
question.
thing, which is
Fire
just
is
like
the
off the
answer.
fucking wall. Artemis Fowl says, no, Dev, the reason they had to say that it didn't give immunity to fire charges is because the DOJ was using ongoing investigations to refuse House GOP subpoenas. Oh. Sneaky.
Aren't there like
was that
whistleblowers
from the Ways and Means thing?
Hold on,
Uh-huh.
Dev. Aren't there whistleblowers from the Department of Justice? Like, there's even a gay left-leaning dude coming out and saying
Mhm.
the way they treated Hunter Biden is the way they never treated any other suspect in his entire career. They're talking about how the DOJ knew that the laptop is real, and yet they pressured
Harrison's the
social
question.
media to shut
Fire
the
is
fuck
the
up.
answer.
Mhm.
Like,
Now,
like seriously, like
that
what
was from the
exactly
Ways and
do you
Means,
need to
yeah.
see?
So,
Like,
so here's the thing.
what do you need to see in order to say, all right, well, maybe there's a little corruption here?
Well, whistleblower testimony is interesting, but as we all learned recently with the fucking aliens thing, it's not actually worth that much. All right. because whistleblowers can come out and say whatever the fuck they want.
I even
Alright?
disagree the shit with the aliens that it's a distraction. Like, I get more distracted by the people saying it's a distraction, but then by the aliens themselves. I didn't even see the fucking aliens on television here. Like, not nothing about those, right?
Well,
The only
think of it
thing
this
I
way.
hear is YouTubers going, "Hey, it's a distraction." When exactly would the reveal about the aliens should have taken place so that people wouldn't say it's a distraction? Because if it happened during COVID, oh, it's a distraction from the lockdowns. If it happened during the BLM protest, oh, it's a distraction from the riots. Like, it's literally just like the government saying, "Okay, there's aliens," and I'm like, and the government is like, "Well, they exist," and I'm like,
Well,
"Not
hold on.
Like,
The-
I
well,
don't understand how it's.
So the reason I brought it up is because the alien thing is a whistleblower testimony, and
Yes.
I personally don't believe a single fucking bit of it.
Isn't it
Just
under
because
oath
just because
to
it comes from
testify to that?
whistleblowers, it doesn't mean that you should believe it. Basically,
No, but like, okay, first of all, just because like in one case there's a whistleblower that you don't believe isn't the same like in another case where, for example, there's many whistleblowers. Secondly, I do agree because the aliens being so far-fetched, you need more evidence. Corruption happens in every nation around the world throughout human period. Is that something astonishing, like something mind-blowing that you would need like a mountain of evidence to see that, okay, well, maybe corruption can take place?
well, I don't want a mountain of evidence. For the Coconut Tackle said it best: is that this will get refiled, and if it happens again, then it probably was corruption. But once is not enough for me.
Shut the fuck up and make maps for my game. I don't even know why he's in the chat. But secondly, no.
Oh, does he work for you?
When you
For
see the
your game?
DOJ when you see the DOJ, knowing that the laptop story is true, and then going and forcing social media to censor it, I don't think you need any more evidence of corruption. And Facebook itself, like Facebook pointed out that the DOJ came in and asked them to censor the story.
Go on. Asked isn't forced though. For
I
example,
my fucking God.
disagree.
Okay,
No.
so if the government, if the government asks you, let's put it this way: if YouTube, okay, Susan Wojcicki comes up and asks you to do something on your channel, and you don't
Yep.
want to lose your YouTube channel, do you listen to her or do you ignore her?
if it's something that I want to do, I'll do it. If it's something I don't want to do, I won't.
It's something you don't want to do. It's like Susan Wojcicki wants you to talk about how important diversity is on your channel. She wants you to make one single YouTube video where you talk about how important diversity is.
No, I probably wouldn't do it.
You wouldn't do it. So like, but you know that
Hold on.
you'd lose your channel.
Well, no,
Serve
she's
guaranteed
only
citizenship.
asking. She's not threatening anything. 'Cause
Okay,
here's the
right.
thing.
There
Basically,
is no
probably
difference.
you're too autistic to
No, there is a
understand
difference.
that
There absolutely
is
Don
no
Corleone
difference.
says,
No,
"What a nice
there
business
is.
you have here."
No,
No,
there
you're
absolutely is no
both
difference.
wrong on. No,
Just
you're
a
both
second.
wrong on
Fire
this.
is
You're
the
both wrong
answer.
on this, and I can tell you.
Shut up, just 1 second. I need
Yeah,
to
yeah.
clear this up before we go any further because like there's no point in continuing. Like if Don Corleone comes to your house, like Don Corleone, like you know who
Yeah.
he is, right? He comes to your house and says, "What a nice place you have here. It would be a shame if it catches fire." You would genuinely think that Don Corleone doesn't want your place to catch fire. Is this what you're taking from this interaction?
It's different, and I can tell you why it's different. Okay. Okay. One thing that we learned from the Twitter
Serve
files, now that we've seen pretty much all of
citizenship.
them, is that there were multiple times where the feds went to Twitter, asked them to do something outside of the normal communications, and Twitter said, "No, talk to us through the normal communications." And there were multiple times where the feds asked Twitter, "Hey, can you do this?" And Twitter said, "We don't feel comfortable doing that," and they didn't do it, and there was no blowback.
Yes.
So
Okay,
no, I
so
don't believe.
basically-
No,
Hold on,
hold
let
on.
me
I
take
don't
back
believe
that.
this narrative
And
that there's this
then-
idea that anytime the feds interact with anyone, it's inherently
Well,
coercive.
there's the
right?
difference.
That's some like
there.
retarded anarchist bullshit. I don't believe it.
So
That's
basically, what
nonsense.
Dev is saying is that if there are several shopkeepers, or even the same store, and sometimes when Don Corleone came and said it would be a shame if this catches fire, the store owner said fuck off, but other times he did what Don Corleone asked, the Dev continues that, well, like Don Corleone is just suggesting things. He's not trying to extort the business or anything. Because like, look, like sometimes they resisted.
There is also
I
a
do
difference
not
here.
believe. No, I don't believe that just inherently being asked something by the government is coercive. No, I don't believe
No,
that.
here's the thing. Sometimes the government will ask you. And even when the government asks you, there is an implicit threat of force because it's the government. It has the monopoly on force. Like, the government asks you for your taxes. You don't have an option to refuse. And the same way that goes with Facebook. Sometimes they'll send an email like, hey, Facebook person, could you remove this? And they go, no, write a dick. And then 5 agents show up at Facebook headquarters and they sit down and go, hey, could you please remove this? And there's a very different vibe between the two.
Okay,
Even
but we
using
don't
the
have
exact
any.
same words.
We don't have any evidence that at one point Twitter has done something for the feds that they didn't actually want to do already.
We know
that they didn't agree with.
We know that federal agents showed up at Facebook headquarters. Like that, as a normal person, if an FBI... let me put it like this, Dev. You're hiding a Jew underneath your floorboard right now. And a man in a black trench coat is leaning over to you slowly, looking you in the eye, going, there's no Jews under your floor, is there?
Heresy's the question.
He's just
Fire
asking,
the
Dev.
answer.
If this were the case,
just asking.
why is it no? If this were the case, why is it that the art no? If this were the case, why did the article come back within 24 hours?
Okay, hold on. Let's spin it the other way around.
Because
Okay,
24 hours is an eternity in a news cycle. That's why.
Let me
Hold on.
spin it another
Everyone's
way, Dev.
talking about the Hunter Biden laptop like 4 years later. That made it blow up way harder than anything else.
But like Dev, let's put it this way, right? You are Don Corleone. You want to shake up a business, but you don't want to be express about it. How do you go around doing it?
I don't know, because I wouldn't be Don Corleone.
Okay, if you're the government then, and you want to shut down the Hunter Biden story, right? You're a representative of the DOJ. Now you can't really be explicit, right? So you have to pussyfoot around the issue, but in such a way that the company understands that you're actually threatening them. When if someone records your conversation, it doesn't seem like you're threatening them. How would you go around doing it?
Yeah. If they actually wanted to shut down the Hunter Biden story to the point that they were going to threaten Twitter to do it, they have failed so fucking hard because it blew up way more than it would have blown up otherwise.
I don't think so. Like
we're still talking about it 4 years later.
That among Democrats, it didn't blow up them. Like if more Democrats knew about the story, apparently the election would have had a different result.
Yeah, I've also seen that data. There's probably some truth to that, yes. But the fact is that it went
Fire
back
is
up
the
within
answer.
24 hours, and then it got spread around like wildfire.
That's a news
I don't-
cycle, Dev. 24 hours is an eternity on the internet, like Arch pointed out.
I do not know, because we're still talking about this. Like, no. The issue I don't think is actually a news cycle thing with this. I think it's that left-wing people and right-wing people online live in completely different news bubbles. Even if it wasn't taken down, they wouldn't have seen it. Because they don't like they're cordoned off into their own sections of the internet. at this
And
point.
why did they even ask? If
Why did they even
that's
ask?
the case, if that's
Well,
the case,
probably because there's a bunch of pro-Democrat people who work in the FBI who actually wanted it taken down. Yeah,
okay,
but they didn't. But they didn't overstep in doing
It's
so.
not the fucking corruption we're talking about. Dev.
Heavy breathing by Dev.
Yes, because it.
Deep breath.
Okay. If the argument is that there are people in the if the argument is that there's people in the FBI who actually did prefer Biden to win 2020 over Trump, that's probably just true. Yeah, lots of career politicians, they want somebody who's been in politics for his entire life rather than somebody who is an outsider who showed up in 2016. That's obviously true, yes. That seems reasonable to assume. It does not seem reasonable to assume that the feds were somehow threatening Twitter.
Service guarantees
They were
citizenship.
threatening. It's an implied.
They were
threat.
not.
It's an implied fucking threat. Jesus.
Okay, well, what was the threat? All right, if Twitter said no, what were they going to do? Were they going to destroy Twitter? They're
Maybe
going
we
to
can
shut it down? What are they going to do?
maybe we can audit your company. Maybe we can pass legislation to fuck with your company. Maybe we can audit like some representatives from the company. Do you not think that if the government wants to fuck with you, they can?
Well, sure. Obviously, they can do
Oh,
they can do
that-
things. Yes, but it's the fact that they've asked things before,
Dev,
and
the
Twitter
government-
said no. No.
There is no circumstance. No, listen. There is no circumstance or
have
legitimacy for the
lost
government
shit.
to ask a social media company in the United States of America to censor shit. All right.
Don't agree.
Because the
I
government
don't agree with you,
shouldn't
just
be
straight
able
up, I
to
don't
do that
agree.
due to the First Amendment. Just like the very fact that it happened, even
Fire is the
asking as a
answer.
favor should not occur.
I don't agree to that. Like as a
I'm
blanket
sure you
statement,
don't
no.
agree with that
No,
because
no,
you're
no.
fucking communist. But like, moving
No, it's not because I'm a communist. It's because there are definitely some things that shouldn't be on social media. All right. For example, like if someone posts some fucking terrorist plan or some classified document,
You know what?
it makes
I will
complete
actually
sense
say on
to
this,
censor
if
that.
someone posts a terrorist plan, it should be up to the authorities and the government to find out who posted that and get them arrested.
Do you know how they do that? They ask Twitter to
shit.
find out. They say, "Hey, Twitter, give us the IP address of this shit, and also take it down." Like that's what they do. That's what they should do.
If you have a court order, no, I agree. If you have a court order from a judge, like that's how things should be taken down on social media. This is how the internet actually worked for more than 30 years. You had a court order, and then you went to the actual social media stuff and took it down. You didn't have like the FBI asking, like, can you please take it down, or asking for favors and shit.
So the fact that they asked, "Can you please take it down?" and then Twitter had the option to say no, and Twitter did say no many times, and nothing bad happened to them.
No,
Makes
Dev,
me
that-
think that
that's-
this no,
that's illegal.
nothing
Yeah.
bad happened to them as
It
a
doesn't
result of them
fucking
saying
matter.
no.
That is also
Harris is the
corruption. Notice how they
question.
never, like,
Fire
the
is the
right wingers
answer.
did that to take stuff down, right? Like notice how the stuff getting taken down was always in the favor of the establishment.
Nothing
okay,
bad
that-
ever
no, no, no.
happens.
If you are right,
No, no,
like,
no.
if you are right
Hold
with
on.
it,
I have lost-
there should have been stuff taken down that would favor the Republicans.
Okay, that's less about like superior morals and more about inferior ability. Trump all the time talked about wanting to censor social media, censor
And
legacy
why didn't
media.
he
He
fucking
was
do it?
all about that shit. He
Then
just
why
couldn't
didn't he
do it
do it then?
Because
Yeah,
he's
sure.
fucking
okay, but
incompetent.
why didn't he do it?
because Trump's a retard.
How does no?
Yes.
No.
Trump's always been retarded. That was the point. He was a
Oh my
giant
fucking
orange
God.
brainless dick.
Well,
He
that's
was a
your
fuck you to
opinion,
the
but, like, no,
establishment.
like, here's the difference, right? Trump was doing it in public and in his speeches. This was being done behind closed doors. Like, at the time, you didn't know that the FBI was pressuring Twitter to change its terms of service.
Well, yes. I mean, that's because Trump, again, because Trump's retarded. Yes. Like, I get that.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. It's not about retardation, Dev. It's about the fact that he was actually following the Constitution. The U.S. got, first of all, just because he's president doesn't mean that he doesn't have free speech, right? He can say literally whatever the fuck he wants. Secondly, he didn't do it because it would violate the First Amendment. That's the main reason. And when he did want to do something, it was repealing Section 230. Right?
Okay.
So,
As fascinating as this is, we've only got about another half an hour.
we should keep going. This is fun. What do you mean?
I want to get through the people
it is
asking
fun,
you
but
questions in
unfortunately,
Super
my
Chat.
wife does not appreciate me spending too much time, so.
Okay, that's fine.
Hold on. Keep sending the super chats about this conversation, okay? And no. Listen, I don't have Trump derangement syndrome, because I don't hate Trump. All right, I think he did some good things, but I like people who were saying that like Trump's actually an 8D underwater backgammon player. No, that's actually copium. Trump is dumb. Trump's actually a dumb guy.
If you could, you would get Justin Trudeau elected as the president of the U.S.
No, fuck Justin Trudeau. He's terrible.
You say this now, but I'm willing to bet that in the future you will support Justin Trudeau. If Canada ever gets
What do you
like
mean?
an actual right winger,
I voted conservative, and I'm voting conservative again because, in fact,
but,
New
like,
Conservative
it's
is
a
quite good.
Canadian conservative, Dev. It's a Canadian conservative. That doesn't.
Have you
fucking count.
even looked up his platform, V?
I don't fucking need to. He's from Canada. That's all I need to know.
That's no.
And my
No.
point is, like, once a conservative, like an actual conservative, gets in charge of Canada, you're going to be like, oh, you know what? Like, Justin Trudeau wasn't so bad. Like, I miss Justin Trudeau.
No, Trudeau's fucking terrible. I'm gonna be happy he's gone.
Well, I hope you're right. I do hope I see the day, but I'm willing to bet I predict the future. You're going to be like, you know what? I miss Justin Trudeau. I miss his policies. Like he was a
Hold
good
on.
man.
How much money you want to bet?
Well, you know, at this point, I can even say like $10 million because inflation will happen by the time like an actual conservative will take place in Canada. So.
Now, a fuzzy creature says, Dev, Weiss, the attorney, is literally a friend of the Biden family going back 20 years. Nothing to see
Let's see.
here. Nothing to see here. Oliver Nord says,
Well, I mean,
would the
that
justice
seems- that-
system stop bothering Trump
Ju-
about insurrection and keeping secret documents if he admitted he did do funny things with his tax reports? You admit some fault means stop being very, very thorough on you.
Hold on.
That's a good question.
Trump's. Oh, V left. Uh-oh.
Yes, he did say he was need to go to bed.
Oh. Hold on. Well, no. The thing is that Trump's actually guilty regarding the documents.
yeah,
like the
and
other
so
charge-
is Biden about the tax fraud.
You mean Hunter Biden?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Hunter Biden's obviously guilty. Yes. Like I'm not here arguing Hunter Biden's innocence. All right.
Yeah, but okay.
Hunter Biden's
what he's
clearly
asking
guilty.
is, if Trump admitted to a count of tax fraud, do you think they would let all of the other stuff go?
I have lost. Shit. I'm not sure.
God, I
Think about
love the fucking the super chat sound. It's a good time.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Wise's relation to the Bidens, but that is more evidence of corruption than anything else we've talked about today. The fact that the prosecutor is personal friends to the Biden family, that's much more concrete than anything else we've talked about. Like this idea that, oh my God, he's employed by Merrick Garland, who was appointed by Biden. Like that's just fucking copium. That's stupid. But the fact that he's personally like one step related to the Bidens, that's actually evidence of corruption that I can get behind. Yeah, okay.
Oliver Nord says, would the justice system... yeah, right. Artemis Fowl says, the judge... God damn it. Stop scrolling. Oh, God.
No,
where
V
were
wasn't
we?
kicked. V had to go because it was his bedtime.
Yes. He did mention that before he went off on a tangent with Dev for 5 minutes more than his bedtime.
Oh,
God, where were we?
There's one guy in the chat who's like, Dev, it's all connected. Like, that's just some tinfoil ass bullshit, all right? Calm the fuck down with that.
God, where were we? Unironically, where were we? List is too long. Oh, there we are. Artemis Fowl says, the judge asked if there were any ongoing investigations like Farah ongoing, would he be immune to prosecution? They had to answer that there was an ongoing investigation under oath.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I think that was in the article too, yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
It does seem like the judge was on the ball, but the prosecution and defender hadn't quite ringed up their story properly. Sol Nalit says, Dev admits defeat. Get ready for Armageddon. See, the best part is, the Super Chat announcer comes in at exactly your volume as well. It is brilliant. Samuel Eddy donates a very generous $50. Thank you very much, sir. To say, I know of a game that you can torture your friends with. Space Beast Terrorfright is a roguelike FPS with a 4-player co-op fighting killer aliens on a doomed space station. It is a simple game, difficult, dark, limited ammo, and cramped hallways. All right, we'll have a look at it.
Oh God, it's all connected. Everyone's saying that now. That's like the right-wing version of everything is political. All right, guys.
Why you...
Here,
Yes? Yes, Dev?
well, because I got a skedaddle in 20 minutes. You should probably do all the ones that mention me first.
Then read faster, Dev.
Okay.
Why you Hatan says, the only thing missing from Barbie is a Ken being flogged in the town square for wearing a jacket that didn't show enough of his muscles. Not far from it. Arnold's Fowl. Dev can never be wrong because he doesn't take a stand. Arch, you should have put me in. I would have taken this man to school.
No, that's true though. I don't take stances when I don't know. Yes, that's true. I don't see one scrap of possible evidence and go, yes, I will stake my entire everything on this one. No. I chill the fuck out and I wait. You know, it might come out that everything Artemis says is actually right, but we have to wait a bit and wait for more evidence. I'm not just gonna just say something randomly. I'm not an ideologue. I'm not committed to any one position before it even happens.
Anatolepi says, anything I don't like is fascist. Anything I don't like is Jewish, corruption, communist, gay, etc. All you people think the same. I don't think that's true. I think there is far more evidence for this being corruption than it not being corruption. And that is my view on it anyways. Scarfy the Strange says, give Dev a break. He needs to throw a bone to the left to seem unbiased. Cruel. To be fair, I don't think the left views Dev as unbiased.
Oh no, they do not. You can talk to any like bread tube or whatever, they all think I'm a fucking fascist, far right, neo-Nazi, whatever the fuck, right?
Yes, we make a lot
know
of
how
fun
it
out of
is.
Dev for being a communist, but it is all in good jest. He's more on his fascist arc, if anything.
Oh, wait, fatcist? Just
Fascist.
some fat?
Yeah,
Oh,
fascist.
I thought you said fatcist.
Yeah, fascist.
Yeah.
Konoha Jeremy says, no, Dev, because if Trump's kids got the same charges, then the whole government will leak all the details to high heaven. Then I won't need to prove anything because the Devs will do that for me. I mean, that's a good point too, yeah. Mr. Luckless
Hold
says...
on, wait, there's this one guy here, like, Dev is legitimately an ideologue. He peddles all the same BS he complains about. Really? Do I? What BS have I actually peddled? Jokes aside. Like, come on, guys. Jesus. There's just, like, I'm actually, I like getting combative with the chat because it's fun, but I feel like there might be, at this point, some Dev derangement syndrome fostering in your community, Arch.
I foster it.
Well, as long as they give you
Grow it.
super chats, it's fine, right? As long as
Nurture
they just keep
it.
paying. As long as they keep paying.
Feed them. Little tidbits here and there. Mr. Luckless says, Dev can admit there sure is a lot of evidence for blatant corruption, but he's too used to living in Canada and all. El Presidente is too powerful. Dev has a very high standard of evidence, which I admire in a way, and also find frustrating in another. I will remind you, Dev, I told you like a year ago, okay, all of the investigations into Trudeau would happen, and nothing would happen of it. Dev, has Trudeau been investigated? Has he been found guilty of anything?
That's actually very interesting because
Have the truckers been redeemed?
the what was it called? It wasn't a council. The whatever in the Canadian Senate that finally went through and did all of its investigations and took all of its testimony. It basically said directly, by the way, that they ruled in Trudeau's favor for political reasons. And that it would they just said it. They just fucking said it. All right? And that like that sounds terrible, but it's completely tanked Trudeau's reputation in Canada. No one likes him anymore. Like in terms of the election, the Liberals are fucking down historically. Like it's looking bad for him for the next election.
I mean, that's nice and all, but what you're saying is he did get off scot-free.
He did get off scot-free, yes. But I think basically he ended his political career because he said he was going to call an election because he wanted to get a majority again. And then he looked at the poll numbers after the Senate report and he was like, I'm not getting reelected. So I'm just going to hold on to power and start cutting deals with smaller parties as much as I can. So, okay, here's the thing about my standard of evidence, guys. All right? I've seen the
Heresy's
people
the
who say,
question.
Dev, it's all
Fire is
connected.
the answer."
Your standard of evidence is too high. You're being unreasonable. You're being ridiculous. You can't think this way, Dev. You have Trump derangement syndrome. I see everything you guys are saying. And however, Arch, if you and I were to talk in depth about the Trump documents case and all of the evidence from that, the actual documents, everyone in your chat would flip the script. It'd be 100% the other way around. It'd be like, oh, this doesn't count. There's reason. Like, it would be so much fucking copium. So this standard coming from the chat of being, hyper skeptical of power, and this is enough evidence, and you have to understand that corruption is everywhere, and you can't just take their word for it. All that standard completely vanishes once Trump is the one in the hot seat, and that's the issue I think with. That's why I'm actually fighting your chat, is because they're just obviously two different standards. For me, it's the same standard on both of them. I have a pretty high standard for evidence, no matter what.
Shit.
But I like Trump, though.
Well, that's the difference, isn't it? Right? Like you should have you should be able to if you like a guy, just let him do whatever crimes he wants and fuck it. And if you don't like a guy, well then you should just prosecute him as hard as you can. And that is how the Democrats play.
Exactly, there is what appears
Yes.
to be the reality, and that is what from my side. I think Trump has probably done a lot of shit wrong, from simply being a successful businessman in the enormous
I have
legal
lost.
apparatus of anything. I mean, hell, even paying your taxes is a fucking puzzle these goddamn days. I'm sure he's done plenty of shit in his time.
Of course, yes.
But I will naturally gravitate towards siding with him simply because I see he's the one currently biting the pillow as the entire establishment reams a very girthy thing up his bum. It's the underdog.
Like, so this guy, when
Dog
Trump
chats.
fucks up,
Dog.
when Trump fucks up, we will be the first to point it out. He did with the documents. He's done. He's actually guilty of that. Everyone who says that he's not, pure copium, pure just flipped around, flip the script. It's the same thing. Trump's actually guilty of the documents thing. Period. That's it. He's probably done at this point. Probably. You can always get off. Who knows, right? But yeah, see, I understand that that's how Democrats operate. And in the face of Democrats operating that way, Republicans should probably operate that way too. Because if that's the game now, that we're just going to, bolster our friends and punish our enemies as much as we can, regardless of what the truth actually is. If that's the game you have to play. Fair enough. But here's the thing. I'm not loyal to the Democrats and I'm not loyal to the Republicans. So I don't need to play that game. I can talk about what I think is correct and truthful, independent of the political game, because I'm just a guy on YouTube, which is what I'll do.
Zenith says Dev needs to see the DNC donkey handing the money to everyone involved to believe corruption is there. Maybe.
Nope. I just need to hear Trump on tape talking about how the documents he has right in front of him are they are in fact still classified. And here, do you want to see them, witnesses? Take a look. That's all I need to hear.
Blue Grimgrin says Dev would be an ideal civil servant because he is literally too obtuse for normal corruption to work. I mean, I wouldn't mind that. Dev, arrow, multiple arrows, scrumptism. Slavabuga says Dev plays the hatchling very well. Oh,
I have lost.
Hatchling. Arc5 says Dev, even asking is a crime, has gone before the Supreme Court. I do believe it did, but I don't know what the result of that was. Or if it's still ongoing.
Just the government asking for
censorship.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So that is a recent development, right? I think that came out a few weeks ago.
Okay.
Is that it's actually been dragged before the courts. So we don't know where that's going yet.
I
So
mean,
it might end up being a crime in the future, yeah.
I am leaning towards, don't let them ask. And what I would say is, let them ask with a court order. Like, if the court says, okay, yeah, sure, you have a warrant, you have reasonable cause to believe that this could cause some sort of damage, go ahead. But I don't think they should be allowed to ask, because I do not think that there's a single interaction with the government that isn't coercive on some level.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't agree with that perspective on like a base level. I don't think that's the case. Maybe it's because
the cops on you. Let's see.
Maybe it's because I actually have worked for the government, and I don't know. Maybe that's the case, right?
You took
I
half
have
a city's
lost.
power away. You are the
Yeah.
last person who gets to say you're not coercive with the government.
And I didn't get charged either.
Artemis Fowl says Dev takes L's for the Twitter files and Hunter Biden. Government has the monopoly on violence. Dev, FBI primed the article to be taken down by mentally manipulating the VPs for months. That is testimony, he says.
That's just copium, to be honest.
Dev, what would it take to make you sit down and have a spurg out with Artemis? It would earn me so much money.
I don't know. We'd have to do that one on my channel, maybe.
Oh God, I don't know if I can let go of all of that. That's
To
a
be
paycheck.
fair, I still know that that Econoboy and Artemis should have a talk at some point. Because
Okay, Dev. What we can do is we can make Artemis pay for the privilege. Okay.
okay, sounds good.
Krieg Artsman 181 says, "Person of authority, talk about diversity on your channel, Dev, or you're just asking."
Service
Person of
guarantees
authority
citizenship.
arrests Bolter on table. Yes. I am going to have Albine make a meme of this. I swear to God.
I think this is actually like one of those foundational differences, right? Is that I do not believe the government, just by existing, is inherently coercive to the point that you can't even interact with it. Like I just don't buy that. That's I know that's a core libertarian principle. There's a lot of people on the dissident right who love that point of view. Anarchists on both the left and the right love that point of view. It's not a point of view that I hold, because I do think you can have more or less accountable institutions in the liberal sense, right? I am still a liberal, in the end.
To the point where you
I've always said
cannot
I'm a liberal.
interact with it, I agree. But I do
Service
believe that
guarantees
every interaction
citizenship.
with the state has an element of threat attached to it. And in reality, when you're saying accountability, what you're saying is there are other elements of the state that is also promising violence against the organization that is currently threatening you if they go overboard.
Well,
Because
yeah, I mean, I
that's
think
what it
that-
is. If
that-
the police comes to
yes,
your
yes, it
house
is,
and
yes,
beats the
yeah.
shit out of you, then the recourse for that is the other group in the police going, "Oi, stop it."
Yeah, court system, different branch. Yeah, like that's the thing. Like that is one of liberalism's probably greatest triumphs, is the decentralization of power into different spheres, such that one does not dominate the other. That's something that like federations do very well. And the United States is a federation. Canada is a federation, right?
Am I seeing the end of the super chat list? I'm not. Let me just try and
But I
blitz
mean-
through this.
Like I've said for years I'm a liberal. I still call myself a liberal, even though there's some things about it I don't like. I mean, I don't know why people think that I'm not. I've had a lot of people say that, like, I didn't know you were actually a liberal. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude?
Artemis Fowl says, article was only down for 24 hours on Facebook. The Twitter account was suspended for multiple days. Blaze Stone says, Dev is naive fool who doesn't think threats can be leveled by government companies by reading between the lines. Be smarter, Dev. You make Canadians look foolish and don't appreciate it. Oh, it's not that. I will defend a Dev here. It isn't that he says that the government can't level a threat. He is simply saying that the government doesn't always threaten.
Yeah. I mean, again, having worked in the government, I know the difference between a government threatening someone and a government asking someone. It does look very different from the inside.
Slavabuga says Marxism is like the ring. Once it takes hold, it never truly lets hiccup go. Arnold Fowl says Dev is committing histrionics. He's getting many facts wrong right now. Again,
Keep donating, Artemis.
I want to see this debate for many reasons. ARC5 says the fact that this is the average Leafs view on politics, as long as the Gov asks it okay, explains why Canada is mating its own people. Dev, maybe we just need to start a podcast channel and just split the benefits, because you truly are a gold mine.
Yeah. We've actually talked about this, chat. Is like, should I have Arch more on the Tubcast? Should I come more on the ArchCast? Should we just like combine our shows and like have a separate channel where we just cut it in half? Like, we've talked about this. It might be a good idea.
Ironically,
the
maybe.
problem with starting over there is rough. Like, if you start over, it's kind of rough, isn't it? To like try to rebuild the sub base and.
Probably the best thing would be to do to keep it on one channel, but simply just enter into an agreement that we split profits. That would probably be advantageous.
Yeah, I guess the issue is just that like having to get everyone over there from my channel and from your channel might be tough.
Yeah. Arnold Fowl says, it is unconstitutional for the government to request platforms to take down posts with classified information, WikiLeaks, Dev.
Oh, wait, hold on. Repeat that one?
It is unconstitutional for the government to request platforms to take down posts with classified information, WikiLeaks, Dev, ?
Is it unconstitutional for the
He
government
says
to
it-
ask
it
to remove
is.
posts?
Fire is
It
the
is
answer.
unconstitutional
Yes, that's
for
what
the
he said.
government to remove posts that have classified documents?
Yes.
I don't think it should be, to be honest.
I kind of agree. Because by classified documents, you might also refer to not just like, oh, look, it's Hunter Biden smoking crack. It could also be, oh, here's a list of every spy in foreign nations, for example. I do believe that there should be a like, oh, nope, that's a bit bad. Let's maybe get that out of there.
Oh, God. Okay. Xanthonium. Xanthonium is a former viewer of mine who now watches you all the time because he doesn't like me anymore. He says that I'm not acting in good faith. Okay.
Oh, I don't know about that. Like, no,
I
will
believe
defend
everything
Dev
I'm
for
saying.
Dev
We
here.
have a different. Yeah.
I will defend
have a
for
dis-
Dev here because I think he believes what he's saying. I do not think Dev is being malicious.
There's just. All right. There's definitely some dev derangement syndrome. But hey, as long as it makes you money, it's fine.
Smudgy says, do you have a study for this corruption? Hashtag Dev dumb. Oh, it's just a bit mean. See, I like Dev. I have nothing against Dev. I think Dev is a good person. I just think he's a little bit naive on occasion. We shouldn't be so mean to Dev. Questioning Dev is okay, but don't be mean to Dev. Doman says, I for one appreciate Dev making chat mad. Thank you, Dev. There you go. See, Doman's happy.
No problem.
Luxon says, I have a very good salt mine on sale here on Chile. Skyford the Strange says, listen to a better class of right-winger than Ben Shapiro, Dev, and stop trying to be a fence-sitting cozy. That is true, Dev. You could get off the fence.
As soon as the fence starts being wrong about something, I'll get off of it.
Just be on my side, like normal.
Well, like for example, I think the left is probably more correct when it comes to universal health care. I think the right's probably more correct when it comes to guns. All right?
Yeah, but that's my
I don't
position.
don't mind dipping into the left or the right sometimes.
Just
but
adopt
I'm
the Archian position. I believe we should statify certain corporations.
Jeez.
Listen,
I mean, so do I.
nationalize
But
the oil industry now.
I think I might get lynched for that, and you might not, at this point. But
Nationalize oil.
I guess the thing is like, at this point in my life, having been around and experienced a bunch of places and experienced a bunch of different types of jobs and different situations, met a bunch of people, I really do think that like golden meanism explains most things in life. Like most institutions are set up the way that they are, not necessarily because they're good, but because they're better than all the other alternatives, right? Things tend to be more or less functional in the liberal capitalist democratic West, despite all of our problems. Like we are more on the mark than not in the grand scheme of things. So like everything in moderation seems to be a pretty good way to go about living your life.
Artemis Fowl, again. This looks like the justice system is working, and I wait until evidence comes out before taking a side. Are not the same thing. You had no actual information to go on for your first hot take. And he also says, Dev, your hypothetical falls apart when the DOJ in both scenarios are ran by Obama, holdovers because Trump wasn't smart enough to vet them. Trump was a dum-dum.
Hold on. Well, then by that logic, we could say that because this judge who slapped this thing down was a Trump holdover, this is a Trump-appointed judge, then you could say that, oh, well, if Trump's completely corrupt, then we could say that that actually shouldn't have been slapped down. You can come at it from the other side and say, oh, Obama holdovers, oh, well, Trump holdovers. Like it. No, I don't buy this. This is just ridiculous. I don't buy this bullshit that everything that goes your way is truthful and right and just, and everything that doesn't go your way is bad and evil and corrupt and false. I don't buy it. The world isn't that simple. The world isn't that easy or neat. I just don't buy it.
Artemis Fowl says, Dev quoting a tape that was exposed as fake news because the people in the meeting stating that the thing Trump held up was a newspaper, not documents.
We'll have to see. I mean, that's going to be in the courtroom.
I suppose.
So.
That's interesting, if true, but I don't know.
Yep. Did you actually hear the tape when it came out?
No.
I did. It was fucking hilarious. Because the tape, if true, established something that you very rarely get, and that's mens rea, because Trump he's on tape. I've listened to the whole thing. He's saying, look at this document. It is actually still classified. I shouldn't have it. I could have declassified it, but I didn't. Hey, do you want to see it? He actually says all those words. And it's like, holy fuck. This is a monumental level of stupidity. You never got Hillary Clinton saying anything close to that with her email server. Like, if true, Trump's fucked. Like, he's retarded. He's just done.
I will happily admit Hillary was a smarter brand of criminal.
She was. She absolutely was.
Artemis Fowl also says, I can explain Dev's problem. Dev looks at the government as a tool for good instead of a necessary evil that should be chained down.
I see it as both. It really depends. Depends on a lot of factors. It's not so simple. It could be both.
Let's see. Only 3 left for Dev, and then Dev can go and do his own show. No one says Dev, the point of government is to be the biggest gun. Correct. Yoroseo says, I wish Dev go at it with the Imperial Father. And Zenothium15 says, Dev, you don't have the legal understanding to say Trump did anything wrong with documents, so stop. Well, if it is like Dev says, then I do believe that is indeed illegal. Because, like, classified document here, read this classified document. I say specifically it's classified, read it. Like, that does sound very bad.
I can give you it later if you want.
Sure.
I can give you the tape because it's out there now.
Oh, another one for Dev. Thomas Clarkson says, Dev, I appreciate you holding your principles. However, you remind me of Cicero. He held his principles all the way until he was assassinated. The times have changed.
That's true, but from what I remember, Cicero was an old man when he was finally killed, and he's also considered he's held in high regard now.
Okay.
So
Dev will be happy. And when the right-wing death squads arrive at Dev's house, he will be like, I shall be remembered as Cicero.
You know, if it turns out that I die at 85 to the right-wing death squads and I haven't compromised my morals, I will say that's a good life lived. Fine. But I won't compromise my morals. No.
I mean, that would be a worthy end, I suppose. Meanwhile, Arch will sit on the other end of the world and goes like, is it done? Yes.
Also, $2 from Holtznader. Hi, Dev. Hi, Holtznader. Hey, just out of curiosity, here, chat. Like, no hard feelings, okay, chat. We had this big fight. It was a lot of fun. No hard feelings. How many of you actually hate me now? Like, how many of you are former viewers who are saying like, I will never watch Dev again? Like, or how many of you are just like, oh no, we disagree, but it's fine. I'm kind of curious. Like, you know, Zenthonium sounds like he actually hates me now. He's like, Dev, you're bad faith. You're just lying. It's like, Jesus Christ. Okay. But I think some people were actually just like disagreeing here, and it's fine.
We shouldn't hate Dev. Dev is not malicious. I do not believe for a second that Dev is being a bad person.
Nothing in Trump's indictment claimed anything involving that recording. Dev, yes, it did, Artemis. You're actually wrong about that. You're actually wrong about that.
Once again, could I please put the two of you in a ring and monetize it?
You're monetizing it right now.
Guarantees citizenship.
Mud wrestling ring, perhaps. Nocta Angelus also says, Dev, did you see Trump show the docs on the audio tape when the audio I
have lost
jovial tones?
Okay, yes. So what he's getting at is that it's entirely possible that when Trump picked up a document and said, look at this, I could have declassified it, but I didn't, he actually wasn't holding a classified document. That's possible. Seems not likely based on the audio, but that is possible, yes.
All right, Dev. You are 6 minutes late.
I am. So I don't know how many of you will follow me over. I don't even know if you're rating me tonight, Arch. But if you're following me over, I'm going to be playing some video games and just kind of I'll chat about all this stuff if you want. But I'm gonna hang out tonight and play some games and kind of unwind from all the things I've done today. So I'm gonna go do that now. Thanks for having me, Arch. We'll do the other topics next week, okay?
You're very welcome, Moneybank. I mean, Dev.
And I'll hook you up with those tapes later if you like.
Sure.
All right, see you later, guys.
See ya.
Have a good one.